What is happening, you guys, and welcome to another episode of the Fins Tailgate. I am your host, El Capitan, and tonight we have a special guest, the man, the myth, the legend, Mike Oliva, who is the end-all be-all with Dolphins Talk, in case you guys didn't know. Been doing it for the better part of 10 years. We're going to bring him on. We're going to talk about DolphinsTalk.com. Everybody should be going over the YouTube page, subscribing, liking, hollering, checking out all the shows they got. Speaking of all the shows they got, make sure you guys are hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel if you're new here. Talk 7 TMI Tuesdays, live at 9 with color commentary, guys. Everybody already know. You can catch color on Thursdays with late night color commentary. Ali filled in for him yesterday. You guys can catch Ali again tomorrow with late night exhale. Ali. And every other night of the week, you have me, the Fins Tailgate, El Capitan, TFTG style. Everybody got some love. Cash App, Venmo, guys. Fanatics, link in the description. Everybody, make sure you're getting to the Fanatics link, getting your gear. Also, you can catch some of our own gear there. Make sure you guys are checking it out. Holla at your boy. Make sure you're hitting the like button. Thanks, guys. Everybody, without further ado, we roll out the red carpet. We bring on Mike and get to do some talking. What's going on, Mike? Thanks for coming.
Hey, what's going on? How are you?
I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great. We were chatting in the back. We were having some fun. Glad to get everybody on. Mike, so better part of 10 years, Dolphins Talk. I can't remember a time when I've gone to the internet and not seen Dolphins Talk articles and, podcasts. Before there was all the video form, it was just you find a podcast, Apple Podcast, stuff like that, which you guys are on all the platforms. I mean, you've been grinding for a long time, and it's a great product. Everybody knows it. Everyone recognizes. Tell us, how did you come to get to start it? How did it come about?
It's a long story. It's kind of a two-pronged story. So go back to early 2000s. And it was still the AOL message board stuff was kind of big then and all that stuff. And I ran another website with a partner of mine at the time, someone else. And we grew that. And it was sort of like FinHaven was out there, or FinHeaven, I should say. And that was a pure message board. And we built a site that's sort of similar to what I have now with our website that did all that stuff with the news and the commentary and stuff. And this was pre-podcast, pre-YouTube and all that stuff. And we grew it. And how I sort of grew that was a little bit of luck in that I was coming home from work one day listening to sports talk radio, and Ricky Williams' mother. So this is 02, 03, somewhere around there. There was a host who was trashing Ricky. Not really trashing him, saying he's not as good as everyone thinks, blah, blah, blah. She called into the show and went after the host. It was the greatest thing ever. So I'm like, I want to interview this lady. I want to talk to his mom because I thought that was the greatest thing ever. So I tracked her down, reached out to her, and she joined our site that year, and she picked games every week on our site, which got us a ton of attention. Alex Marvez wrote about it. At the time, he was with the Sun Sentinel. He wrote about that in Sun Sentinel, saying this website with this kid who's working with Ricky Williams' mom, she's picking games every week. And that site sort of exploded to the point where I'm just out of college. I just got my first quote unquote real job, and I just didn't have enough time in the day. And who knew at that time the internet was going to sort of turn into what it became with social media and YouTube. So I sort of quit that. And then after like 6 or 7 years off, I'm like, that was
Did
kind
Mark
of fun.
Zuckerberg steal this idea? I mean,
No, he
sounds like
didn't.
Mark
I
Zuckerberg
wish.
pulled. Go ahead.
No.
Sorry to
So
cut you
yeah,
off.
so
Okay.
no, you're fine. So then fast forward like say to like 20 to like 09 or 10, I'm like, my life's more settled, had more time. I'm like, that was kind of fun. Maybe we should do something like that again. But now it wasn't we, it was really just me. So I started the website we have now, and I sort of rebuilt that. And over the course of the last 10 or 11 years, we sort of built it up to what we have now. And I don't do it alone. I have a great team around me, a lot of great people who help me out with the site, who do other podcasts, write articles, and just sort of help me even with voiceovers, graphic design, because it's a little bit of everything to run a site like that with various shows. I got Tom Ernestine. He's probably been with me the longest. Ian Berger, everyone knows Big E. I do a podcast with him every week. He's part of our team. Josh and Aaron, they help me out with a ton of stuff. And there's so many others. I can't even name them all. So it's just been a slow grind. And the main thing is, be consistent with the work, build up credibility, and don't do nothing stupid to lose the credibility. You don't always have to be rah positive, but just be honest with your work and don't say stuff that's stupid. It will get you in trouble. Or, some people always say jokes, but people don't understand the joke and it gets out of context. And so it's just do good work, essentially. And we've done very good work for a long period of time. We built up a lot of credibility. It's led to other opportunities for me personally, which has been great. And we continue to just march on and grow year over year. And our growth probably the past 2 to 3 years has been substantial.
That's good. That's good to hear, and as somebody who's early in on the game, as we'll say, I you would love all the things. People get crazy ideas, but really this is about how much you love a football team.
Oh, it's a passion project.
It's a passion project, man. So it's what you put in, you get back, and you got to be in it for the right reasons. And kind of what you were saying, you got to be careful what you say and what you do. But it's not that you can't be yourself, or you can't be real, or you can't even be argumentative or indifferent, or even, kind of an asshole sometimes. You know what I'm saying? But can't be a hateful person, can't be a vindictive person. There's those types of things. That's nobody has tolerance for that. We're still in a civilized world, Mike.
Exactly. If you're gonna put your name, which right there's my name on the screen. Yeah. That's my real name. That's me.
That's not my real name. That's my
face. Yeah, I know. I figured. but that's my real name. That's my face. And if I'm going to say something, I'm going to be held responsible for it. Mm-hmm. And I not only represent our site, I represent me. I represent every sponsor that pays us a little bit of money. I do some stuff with the team. I represent them. And it's not that, here's the thing. People think you can't be critical. You can be critical of anything on the field. You can be critical of anything on the field. What you can't be is you can't be a jerk. You can say, like last year's a perfect example. The team was 1-7 to start the year. They're not very good. And you get some fans, why are you so negative? We're 1-7. What do you want me to say? That we played great last week? We played horrible and we lost. We look bad. You can be critical. You can challenge, the players and how they play, but you can't go after them personally. You can't, call them names. What we see on social media a lot, which is why over the past probably year or so, I'm on social media almost because you have to be on, but I don't like to interact too much because it is so toxic and people are so cruel, mean, and rude. It's like, we're just talking football. And if someone has an opinion, it used to be, I think A, B, and C about a player. And someone might think, well, I don't. I think X, Y, and Z. And you could talk about it. We don't have to agree, but you'd have a little comment. Now it's like, you think that? You're an idiot. I hope you die. It's like, whoa, what just happened here? Because
yeah, there's like two ends of that spectrum too. There's the troller, okay, and that you can almost recognize the troller sometimes, and I can almost see the humor in it sometimes. Sometimes it's just in bad taste. I think we can all agree. And then there's the troll hunters who are just accusing everyone of being that way. It almost creates what you say of a toxic atmosphere.
And then you got people who just say the cruel, meanest thing to you. Yeah. And then if you block them, they go, well, he's soft. Look, he blocked me. So, well, yeah, he blocked you. He wants to interact with you. You're a lunatic. It's like there's that aspect of it, and the other thing I've learned too is humor on social media. It's tough because not everyone gets it. There's tone and context, which on social media, some people don't get.
Text is hard to interpret.
It's hard. Mm-hmm. It's hard to be funny with just words without seeing a face or hearing the voice inflection. It's like if I said a joke now, you'd see me laugh, smile. You say, okay, he's clearly joking. When you're just typing the words, you can't tell if someone's clearly joking. And stuff gets taken out of context. So that aspect of what sort of journalism is kind of turned into, because everyone's on social media, because you have to promote your content, you have to sort of interact with the fans. That aspect of it, I do not like, but I understand it's a part of it these days. So with us, I'd rather do a show like this or a podcast where I'm talking to express my thoughts than do a tweet or something on Facebook where there's only so many characters you can use and people take it out of context without knowing, and they sort of spin a narrative around what you say. So it's like that aspect of it has changed a lot, and I don't try to avoid social media, but I don't interact as much as I probably want to or should. I just don't want to be a part of it because it's just so bad.
Yeah, I mean, I understand where you're coming from. Like, Mike, if I didn't have this, I wouldn't do it. I didn't have a Twitter before I started this. I had my Facebook that I used, didn't have any of these other things. I started it all up at the same time for this purpose, but I kind of knew what I was walking into. You know what I'm saying? I understand it. Like on Facebook, I see something, it's just raunchy or just, I understood that person did it to be that way. It's funny in a way to me. I'm willing to like give and take a little bit. There is this vindictive attitude that seems like people are just out there trying to get people either A, riled up, or B, just being a mean-hearted person. Like there's vitriol, they're vicious. Like they really have actual hate. You're like, wow, that's a sick person. That's a person who is unhappy and needs help. And then there's a person, it's crazy. I get it. I know I get plenty of it. And even in this, where you are on video, things said in a 6-hour long video, sometimes a 4-hour long video, sometimes they'll clip pieces of that to spin a narrative. So there's no getting away from. There's no getting.
I had Omar Kelly on our show last year, 1 week, and we were sort of talking, and I'm like, I don't know how you do it. Actually, I don't know. I know the feedback I get, and I know I don't have the amount of followers you have or the platform that you have with the newspaper. I don't know how you, because I used to think, I don't know, and I know we're totally off on that, like on a tangent. Like, I don't understand, like, how people, I don't know. I just think it's so weird these days how people interact with each other over football. We're not talking politics. We're not talking important stuff. We're talking football. And if you think a football player is good and I think he's bad, we can agree to disagree. It's not the end of the world. Who cares at the end of the day? Or if you think they should do this and I think they should do that, like who really cares? But how people get so worked up and how they just sort of interact with each other, it really is a sad state of our society.
It really is. Remember how barbaric we are.
It's a microcosm of everything else in the world where people just have no fear to say anything to anybody. And it's that part of where journalism is gone. And it's not with the reporters. Like, I see people just attack reporters. Reporters will report something, and fans don't like that their favorite team might, sign a player, or they might do that, and they attack the reporter. It's like, why are you attacking him? He's just a messenger. He's not the one trading for the player. He's not the one signing the player. Was that his fault? He's just telling you what's happening. But
even if his perspective is different and maybe even skewed or wrong, their assumption is that there's an agenda or
he doesn't like the team. He's not paid to like the team. He's a reporter. Most reporters don't root for the team they cover.
That's right. It's probably better if they didn't. It's probably better if they didn't.
Exactly. You're more honest. I know in New York City, when Tua threw that pass a few weeks ago, it was underthrown, and it was covered in the New York Post, which is a whole other story for a different day. It was covered in the Post, because fans of the Dolphins gave it 7 million views and made it go viral. Watson threw a pass that was underthrown. Browns fans gave it maybe 40,000 views. It's not a news story because Browns fans aren't acting like crazy people and making it go viral. Dolphins fans gave that so much attention, it becomes a news story. They have to cover it. And the people for the Post, they're not fans of the Jets trolling the Dolphins. They're like, hey, this video got 7 million views in May, and here's why. And they're talking about that. If you don't give it that many views, they're not going to cover it. And they don't care. The people at the New York Post aren't fans of the Jets. They're not fans of the Giants. They're covering a story that is happening in the football world, which was a crazy story because fans of the Dolphins blew up something that shouldn't have been blown up.
You know, I remember first, I have it written in my notes. I was going to ask you about it, this exact scenario, because I seen it, and I remember seeing it as soon as it came out. Didn't think much of it. Didn't even retweet it.
No normal person does.
I was like, they probably shouldn't have did that. It looked a little odd. Then I said to myself, logically, I go, well, I don't know. Like, they're in shorts. Maybe he was just standing out there, and he was just
Who gives a crap?
I didn't think anything of it. Next day, complete, utter story. It's all over the place. It's ridiculous. And I don't know so much, is it the hate on Tua or the people willing to defend him so much that makes that,
it's just both.
Is it both?
It's both. I said this the moment we took him in the draft, and I said it in the lead up to the draft, Tua in college was a superstar. And the Dolphins haven't had a true superstar since Marino. They've had a lot of very good players. Jason Taylor's a good player. Zach Thomas is a good player. Ricky Williams, when he played, was a good player. They've had very good players. But if you go to Idaho and say Zach Thomas, they're like, who? They don't know.
Yeah.
You go to Arkansas and start talking about Jason Taylor, they're like, yeah, I think I know. Tua, because he won the Heisman, national championship game, college football, was all over the place. He was a superstar walking into the NFL. And I said, Dolphins haven't had a superstar since Marino. And a lot of the younger fan base, 20 and up, never saw him play Marino. Let's be honest. He retired in 2000. Most fans are 20, 21, 22 either weren't alive or they were in diapers when he played. They never experienced it. Me, I'm getting a little older. I was there for the whole ride. And it's like those fans have never known what it's like for this organization to have a megastar. And now having a megastar doesn't mean he's always a great player. Tua's had his ups and downs. I'm sure we'll talk about it. But it's like they don't understand when you have a megastar, they're going to get covered every day. Mm-hmm. Every move they make is analyzed. Tom Brady is a megastar. Every move he makes analyzed. Yep. Other quarterbacks, megastars, every move Tim Tebow is a megastar coming in the NFL. He couldn't play a lick, but he was covered like a megastar because people cared. People care about Tua. Is he better than Joe Burrow? No. Is he better than Justin Herbert? No. Does he get more attention than both of them combined? Yes, because he was a megastar entering the league with his story, with the Heisman, with the hip, national championship. That he was a superstar. And I think fans of the Dolphins don't understand. You're not always going to get positive stories about your favorite players, especially a megastar like that. And you can't flip out every time someone on ESPN or Fox Sports or the NFL Network says something that's not positive. Because guess what, folks? People in America are entitled to have a different opinion than you. And if they have one that's not what you think or what you like to hear, that doesn't mean you call them names, you attack them personally, try to get them canceled, which is a whole other thing with cancel culture. It's
that is active as can get, bro. It's an active as can get.
How this fan base is sort of what has become over this one player. It's like fans. There's half the fan base. He can do no wrong. He can turn water into wine, and I don't care if we lose. If he not his fault. And the other fan base, he could throw 400 yards or 4 touchdowns. He should have passed for 505. So there's no winning, and it's created an environment around this organization that at times I don't think fans quite understand that, Mike Florio is a perfect example. Now, I know a lot of his stuff doesn't put the Dolphins in a positive light, but again, we haven't been good in 20 plus years. I don't know what people expect them to say.
Yeah, we don't deserve all this love.
Is he too critical at times? Absolutely, yes. But to sort of go after him with the vitriol that some fans do, it's like it makes them look bad. It makes the team look bad, I think. It's just, I don't get it. But once again, I also think with my age, I think it's an age thing too. I think the younger fans are just angry.
Yeah,
I've never seen them be good. I saw them good. Mind you, it was a long time ago now, but I saw them when they were good and they were relevant every year.
Yeah, you were thinking Super Bowl, not playoffs every year. I remember that.
Year. Making the playoffs was a foregone conclusion.
Right. We knew we were making the playoffs. We knew we were winning our division. We were thinking winning division. It's just, can we make it?
Worst, you're like the top wild card. Yeah, I mean,
but
there's a segment of fans who never experienced that, and I think I don't know. It's just weird what the social media aspect of this has turned into.
It's odd for me too, and you made a good point about a mega star like that, because
he's a megastar.
I say this on the show. I said, I've never seen a player come into the Dolphins organization like this, drafted by the Dolphins. I've never seen anything like, not just a polarizing figure, but just a larger than life figure. The brand Tua that the Dolphins got, it rivals anything I've ever seen in my life come in here as far as what it brought. And there is a new fan, a younger fan. And I guess when you put it like that, if I was in my 20s and this was in my head, I could say, okay, yeah, I grew up a Dolphins fan, but never seen any really winning or relevant football as a fan. Now I'm 20, and to me, in my head, I'm going to say that guy's my Dan Marino. This is the Dan Marino of my lifetime. Here it is. I guess I would be a little bit more sensitive to defending him, but even when Dan was there, people were critical of Dan. People were very critical of Dan. Very critical. They were constantly looking for a reason to write off Dan.
You can't win the big one. Ain't gonna win the big one.
Or even when he was younger, okay, yeah, he came out of the gates hot and stuff like that. But I mean, even when he was younger, they always questioned this or that. You're allowed to be critical. I don't know. It's weird. It's a weird environment.
And here's the thing with Tua too. If you take away all the noise, and just look at this objectively as a player, just take what he's done on the field, take away all the hype, where he was picked, just look at the product on the field. He's not as bad as some make him out to be. He's not as good as some make him out to be. He's really just an ordinary player, which, okay, for the 5th overall pick, that's not what you want. I get that. But he's just a middle-of-the-road quarterback right now. Not saying he can't be more. I don't know. But if you just take away the noise and just look at the on-the-field product, he's just a middle-of-the-road quarterback. And no middle-of-the-road quarterback should get this much attention. But when you come in as a megastar, you come in 5th overall. And the other thing is, I think this fan base, the whole tank for Tua thing, did him no favors. Because a lot of this fan base probably never watched one snap of him play at Alabama. His rookie year, in the lead up to that draft, everyone says, hope he can still scramble with the hip. He was never a scrambling quarterback. People just assumed he was a scrambler. People never, I think there's a large, I shouldn't say all people, there's a large segment of the fan base who never saw him in college. And everyone said tank for Tua. Well, I better be tank for Tua if he's that good. And then when they got him, they see what they got. And it's like, wait a minute. This is when I thought. Well, now they sort of put their name on this and they said, well, I was all tank for Tua. I can't flip-flop now. So anybody who says otherwise, they're going to double down on Tua. And no matter what anybody says, they're going to put that positive spin on it. And it's going to be even more hardened to defend him. I think that's also a big part of it. And I think another thing is money. When he was drafted by the Dolphins, within the first month, he had the number one selling jersey at NFL.com. I think so many fans of Dolphins spent $100. They're like, they can't get rid of him for a while.
I got 3 of them in my house. Jersey. My wife and both my kids got them.
I don't want those jerseys to be worthless. I think that was a big part of it. It's not for all fans.
I'm a lifelong Dolphin fans. I'm aware that when I buy the jersey, that it's only got a 3-year shelf life. That's what I think.
3 years, you're lucky, yeah.
That's why I say I usually buy them when they get drafted, or I buy them when they sign a contract.
My advice is always buy legends. Zonka's never going nowhere. Marino's never going nowhere. 99's always going to be buy those guys. Because if you're buying a new player, you're just asking for trouble. And you can't get mad in this league because stuff changes all the time. If you are a Chiefs fan thinking it's safe to buy a Tyreek Hill jersey, this March, you were probably like, what the hell just happened?
I know. You know what?
Came out of the blue one day.
Everybody who bought an Xavier Howard jersey bought it smart. They keep keeping him around. So if you bought an Xavier Howard jersey the last few years, you've been able to actually wear a jersey. So that's good.
Yeah, so I think with Tua, it's a lot of factors, but the megastar coming in, I do think part of it's, I think some fans just never saw him play, and now they're like, well, I wanted him. So it's a lot of factors, and I think the fan base really needs to like bring the temperature down. Let him play. If he and this would and the feedback I get is always makes me laugh. I'll say positive things when he plays good, and I'll say negative things when he plays bad. What else you want me to do, folks? I'm not gonna lie. You know, if he plays horrible, I'm not gonna lie and say he played great. And if he plays great, I'm not gonna put a spin on this saying, oh, you know, well, he really wasn't that great when he plays well. I'll say he played well. When he plays poorly, if it's sunny, I say it's sunny, and if it rains, I say it rains. I don't know why that's some people can't comprehend that. And it's like they want you to pick a side and never change. And I'm like, no, I'm not doing that.
You know, well, it seems to be too, if someone's so got their heels dug in on one side, good or bad, they want to then tell you don't know what you're looking at.
Exactly.
That's how they go out. They're like, you don't know football. You don't know what you're looking at, and you're wrong. And then they'll go and I mean, listen, it's kind of like beauty is in the eye of the beholder, or beauty is in the eye of the beer holder. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Everything looks different in different lights, feelings, objectivity. What needs to be understood is that you don't have to agree. The infighting and the canceling of people, that is just it's an ugly thing. It's a ridiculous thing. And I say this a lot on the network that, you know, the team, I think we all feel like it's in a good position. It's on the up and up, and potentially could be a really great team. And if Tua does work out, and with all these picks and, you know, the money and the players, who knows? We could be a perennial playoff team looking at championships. That's what the hope is. These good things happen. There's going to be so many younger fans coming, so many older fans that you know, have distanced themselves from the team over the years. People are going to refine their fan base, refine, you know, this new. It's going to grow exponentially on all platforms of social media. What's going to stop it from growing is that kind of stuff. And it's not so much that someone can come out and be like, oh, you know, and maybe someone makes like a thumbnail or it's the whole thing is just negative onto after a bad game. Okay. After a bad game, they go and they make a whole negative 20-minute long clip, putting it all together and make it all negative. Maybe they even get a little sticky about it. You don't like it, don't watch the guy. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
That's another thing. What it seems to be happening is like the people that are watching it, they'll attack those people. You know what I'm saying? There's a whole cancel culture, a whole movement of things. And I think it's that kind of stuff on social media that is fomenting everyone being so, their teeth are already showing. You know what I'm saying? They're all ready to go.
It's
like,
almost
chill
like,
out, bro. What's wrong with all you guys?
If
like,
you
we don't act
like
like this in the real world. What's going on?
Exactly not.
What is going on with these
when
people?
you meet people in real life, and I've met a few who have said, you know, sent me nasty things. I can't believe you said that in your show. You're not even a real fan of the team. Yeah, I'm not a real fan of the team. Just look around.
Yep,
all that stuff.
You don't know football.
You don't know football, but okay, whatever. It's like, and then when you see them in real life, it's like they slip out of that what I call prick suit real fast. Mm-hmm. Hey, what's going on, Mike? Shake your hand. Okay. Oh, so this is the real you, and online you're just whatever. But it's crazy what it's turned into. If you don't, you know, so many fans of Dolphins attack Colin Cowherd, Mike Florio, Chris Sims. It's like, that's fine. But if you don't like them, one, don't listen. Two, don't click on it. But three, you know, don't comment then. Because if you think everything they say is negative, which it's not everything, it's really not everything. But that's all people hear. So if there's 10 videos of Mike Florio on the Dolphins, and 8 of them are where he's more critical than say positive, it's like, that's fine. But he's entitled to that opinion, number one. And number two, just don't listen to him then. I often say on our show, I tell people, look, especially last year when we were bad, and like in 2019 when we were really bad, I say this show might not be for all fans. So I say it up front.
Yeah, you're not going to want to hear me, dog, what I see.
If you want a show, because there's so many Dolphin podcasts, there's so many Dolphin YouTube shows, there's so much content. I go, there's a show for you. And some shows, it don't matter what the record is or how bad they lose. Everything's great. Everything's going to be fine. Don't be negative. It's all sunshine and rainbows. There's shows for you that are like that.
That's and right.
You're probably way better off. You're way better off listening to them because don't listen to me for an hour and then send me a bunch of hate mail because I'm telling you up front, this is an honest show. I'm not going to lie to you. Yeah. I'm going to give you an honest breakdown and an honest
I saw a piss poor effort out there.
When it's good, I'll say it's good. When it's bad, I'll say it's bad. And if you don't want that, don't listen. Because guess what? I ain't going nowhere. And we've had more than enough success to where if someone doesn't, I'm never listening to you again. Okay, bye. What am I gonna do? Lose sleep over it? I don't know you. Am I gonna lose sleep over it?
Yeah, and we talked about it backstage a little bit. It's a long game. It's a long game process. With doing stuff like this, I was fully ready for the slings and arrows that I realized that I come up on here. I say things, and that's okay. Because again, I think this is a virtual reality. I know people feel virtually different. You know what I'm saying? And in reality, I don't take them so seriously. There is some people, they go over the line.
They really go over the line.
Some people really go way over the line. And, there's been talk about trying to get people fired or, talk coming at their family members, saying thing about, wives and kids and stuff like that. And you know what? That's just a person that's obviously really sad inside. They got a lot of hate. That's a sad thing. But try to act a little bit more civil, everybody. And I understand it. I think we do, Mike. But it is what it is. That's,
like I said, sort of which sort of puts on this one topic. I like the social media aspect of what journalism is. You have to be a part of it, but you also don't have to engage as much. Mm-hmm. And there was a whole thing this week with the kid from San Francisco, Grant.
Perfect topic.
Who I had on our show when we hired Mike McDaniel. I'm like, I want to have someone who covers San Francisco to sort of just give me a feel of Mike McDaniel and how he was sort of viewed upon San Francisco. Had him on our show. Nice guy. Couldn't have been any nicer. Just straight interview, talking football. I don't know the kid. I don't know his whole reporting history. I know he works for SI.com, all that stuff. It was fine. And I'm watching this clip this week, and I don't know, like I said, if he's been super critical of that player over the course of like months or a year. I don't know that. But I'm saying to myself, why is this player on the show if he dislikes this man so much? Mm-hmm. Like, why is he on the show? Like, I don't know nothing about Grant. Let's say he's the worst reporter in the world. He's evil. He's saying all these nasty things, which I don't know. But let's just say, hypothetically, that's the case.
Yeah, let's say it's common knowledge that he's a terrible.
Then why did you go on the show? Mm-hmm. Why did the player go on the show and act? Because that did two things. It made the player come off looking terrible, and it made Grant I don't want to say a star, but it gave him a big platform, a larger platform.
I didn't know who he was till that happened. You know what I'm saying? And
if we didn't hire Matt McDaniel, I never would have known him. We hired a San Francisco coach. I did a little research. First one to respond would come on. Grant, you're fine with me. And he was fine. It seemed totally normal. But again, a report, and this is where I do think it's an age thing. It's a generational thing. Fans expect the reporters to be homers for their team. And, San Francisco's had a lot of success lately, but that doesn't mean every player's being great. Everything's going well. You can be critical. Now, how he's been critical, once again, I don't know enough. But on that show, like, why go? If you dislike him that much, and if he's so bad, why are you on with him? Just don't go on.
Yep. And I mean, and Grant, I seen in that interview, he kind of threw a little gas when it was coming. Again, trying to maybe listen. He's the interview guy. I mean, he gets this player to pop on screen. It's only good. Maybe he get some blowback. Players shouldn't have done that. Got on screen at all.
And the next day, I guess he went to San
whole
Francisco's
world wants to
headquarters
cancel that
with
guy
Lynch.
out.
John Lynch has him and the player sit down, talk it out. They shook hands. Grant goes on. Once again, he goes, okay, it's all squashed. I had a meeting with him. It's now behind us. It's time to move on, which is a professional thing to do. What does the player put out? Something on Instagram or Twitter. It's not squashed. They made me shake your hand. I still hate you. Well, it's like, at what point do we say?
Wow, the player did that? I didn't know that, Mike.
He did that. It was
really.
I think it was his Instagram. Check it out. It's like, at what point do you say, this isn't on the reporter? This is on the player for just,
I mean, that was if he did put that out like that, that's ridiculous, bro. That is ridiculous. After the handshake?
It's like, here's the thing. I've had a couple players blocked, not for anything I've said, actually. This was pre-podcast. For articles I've written, which weren't even that, what you would call hot takey, just, you're, once again, critical of on-the-field play and stuff like that, blocked me. I've had a couple of the players' family members, sending me stuff. I can't believe you said that about my son. It's like, it's not personal, but the guy, but it's like, so I understand. And what I've also seen too is this generation of players, this was never the way in the 80s and 90s. Well, partially because there's no social media back then, is right after the game, they are on their phones, scrolling, seeing what people are saying about them. And that's probably not healthy for them. Because you're going to get worked, because people say, as we said, nasty things on social media. And then you see someone who's like a quote unquote reporter, and that's going to set off certain players. And then I saw Trey Lance also give an interview saying, he goes, I understand all you guys have a job to do talking about reporters at a press conference. I really don't care what you say. That's a healthy attitude to have. Say, you guys can say what you want. I don't pay attention. That's healthy. You got this other guy flipping out on a podcast. Like, why are you on the show?
I think, this morning on Stephen D, he had his show on this morning. I jumped on with him, and he pulled up the kid was their last first-round draft pick, and then the last 2 years he's only gotten a sack and a half, and he only played 4 games last year. He's got terrible stats. Yes, you get $1 million, the first 13th overall pick, you get that kind of hype, you're going to get that kind of criticism. And
if you want the money and fame, this is what comes with it.
Yep. And I think the reporter in the same thing, he has to know that it's his game, that this going to happen. You keep pushing, you can get one of these players that unhinged come at you. I mean, who was it in the locker room those years ago got hit? Was it Jason Lockenfora that got punched or something like that?
No, Ryan Leaf almost hit a guy. I remember that. I don't know if Lockenfora almost got hit. If he did, I haven't heard that story. But this, in the past, like I said, pre things like YouTube and stuff like that, reporters were at the site in the locker room face to face. And if certain players had something to say, they say it right to your face. And I think that's probably a more healthy way to go about it. With social media,
so too. You're right, Mike. If we took all this social media in between the questions,
say it to their face. Like I said,
yes.
People, when you're face to face, first off, most people on social media no offense to you, don't even use their real name. So it's like, you know what I mean?
Oh, well, I use my real name. I'm just going by El Capitan.
Exactly.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean. A lot of people don't even tell you their name at all.
Don't even tell you the name. And they can say anything to anybody because they know there's no repercussion. But, someone like Grant, who's a reporter, he's using his real name.
He's a press pass. He's coming in that press room. He's going to have to see that guy again.
He's going to have to see that guy. And whatever. I just thought that story, and then you sort of take it to like the Haskins thing, what happened there with Schefter, which I guess Schefter's tweet was poorly worded for sure.
It really was.
Nobody's going to defend that. But again, people are like, but there is another side. It's like Haskins is a public figure, and public figures get covered, whether it's someone who's movies, someone who's on the news. And Alec Baldwin gets covered because he's Alec Baldwin.
Maybe he was in that article mode because that looked like something that was written down, not a quote from a person.
Yep.
Something in like a newspaper you would read or something.
Oh, nobody's defending Schefter. That was a poorly worded tweet. But also, he did take down the tweet, reword it. And I'm like, so it's like, I understand you want to give him pushback because it was so badly worded and he deserved it. But he also took it down and fixed it. in like 20 minutes. It's like at a certain point, it's like now everyone's trying to get him canceled. It's like, really? That's what we've come into. We're trying, someone makes a quote unquote mistake, even one like that's really bad. He has to get fired over it. It's just the world we live in. And then even I saw this week when the things came out with Haskins, like the whole story, the full picture. People like, why are people even talking about this? Because he was a public figure. That's why. Nobody has joy in saying it was X, Y, and Z. Here's what happened, and it's not good and all that stuff. But it's like he was a public figure, and if you want the fame, you want the money, you want the attention, you want the endorsements, you want all that stuff. There is the flip side of this comes with it, and I think some fans don't understand that anymore. It's like public figures get covered differently. You or me, if we do something stupid, we're not really public figures by any means. We have maybe a small little following on the internet, whatever. You know what I mean? We're not like millionaire public, but nobody's going to care.
Yeah.
When a millionaire quarterback does something, and not Haskins, anybody, it's going to get covered differently. That's just the world we're in. Right or wrong, that's just the world we're in.
It's the world they're in, too.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? It's the world they put themselves in. There's a give and take. There's balance in all of it. Different responsibilities in those ways as well. All right, let's get back on some Dolphin stuff.
Yeah.
Let's they're speaking of Instagram. Have you seen the little bit of video clips on Instagram from Hunt and Keon Crossan as of recent?
Yeah,
where they've got a little bit. Everyone's trying to break it down.
It's May.
Can't really.
Don't break anything down in May. Don't break.
Well, not only that, it's really hard to break it down. The video is very grainy. Like I can't tell the size of the window on a screen that's blurry. Like
it doesn't even matter. Like I say this on our show all the time, especially when it comes to the quarterback, because everything always leads back to the quarterback. He could have the best preseason in the world. He could have the worst preseason in the world. He doesn't get judged till week 1. So it's like, I don't care what he does in May. It doesn't matter. Like none of this stuff matters. If the offensive line, that was a beautiful pocket by the offensive line. Great, doesn't count. Like who cares? Like what do you do? What do you do week 1?
I think it's something for
it's hope.
It's something for the meat on the bones for breaking things down. It's good to see the formations, things like that, all that stuff. But I do know what you mean. Like to have such conviction about things, good or bad. Why are you caring so much? You know what I'm saying? That's the thing. Like if you wanted to be critical, you could be critical. If you want to, have this breaking it down, I could see all that people, but like, it's such a weird thing, this whole deal. You come up, you talk, and you're vulnerable on it at the same time, and you're held accountable for all that stuff. And it's ridiculous how people get off of just having fun sometimes,
Yeah,
so
take it for what it is. It's like an OTA in May. Don't get into it. I mean, I said on our show last week after that pass there that got like 7 million views, 8 million views from Tua. I'm like, I don't know when this started, but fans feel like they have to follow a team 365 days a year. I'm like, unless you're getting paid for it, like take a break. It's like you don't have to analyze every practice pass in May and come to a conclusion on it. It's like, it's May. You know what I mean? Like the NFL was never this way. Guys used to there were never OTAs. There were like rookie camps.
Oh no, it's a year-round deal now. It's year-round
now. Back in the 80s and 90s, guys would take off, from the day after the final game till August. They'd put on 25, 30 pounds. They'd be on vacation. Then they show up in August training camp. All right, got to lose about 20 pounds. I'll be ready to go in September. Nowadays, it's like they're there every week. Weight checks. Don't pull a muscle. Did you put on some pounds? It's like overanalyzed, and the fans are just which I guess is great for the sport, and the NFL kind of loves it, but it's like, don't overanalyze this stuff.
And I think they're gearing up for international ball. They're trying to get everything regulated and up and down, so much more connection to it because they're going to be gearing to international football one of these days. It's coming sooner than we think, I think.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, it's going to be a big deal. So how do you feel about Lynn Bowden right now? We have been seeing him out there. Finally, looks like he might be getting some work in. He's a bubble guy. I think he's on this football team if he's healthy, but I'm hearing as of recent, some people are viewing him as a bubble guy,
We actually spoke, myself and Ian spoke about this on our show on Wednesday. I think he's going to have a hard time making this team. Not impossible, but I think it's going to be an uphill battle because you have to remember this staff wasn't here when he was brought in. Now, he was picked by the Raiders and traded. He was traded by the Raiders before he even had like an OTA or anything. They took him in April, trade him in like June. So they ran him out. And in Miami, year one, he was like, okay. Last year he was hurt. He missed everything. And now we got Hill, Waddles, and Cedric Wilson. You know, they're locks. They're not going nowhere. After that, they just took a wide receiver in round 4 who they probably like and probably want to make this team. You got Trent Sherfield, who was with this staff in San Francisco. You think his chances are probably going to be good. You got Preston Williams, who just from a size perspective, if he's healthy and can play, you know, he's tough to cut just because of, you know, walking off the bus. He's a guy you want on your team. That looks like a wide receiver. So you got him. They got the other guy they signed, Carcraft, I think is, or
Craycraft, River Craycraft.
So yeah. I think for Lynn Bowden, you know, how many wide receivers are they going to carry? Because we carry a lot of tight ends.
That's one of the questions. That's one of the questions.
5 wide receivers or 6?
I think they carry 5. I think they're carrying 6. They have to.
Okay. If it's 6, he's got a chance. If it's 5, I don't know if he's got a chance. If it's 6,
if it's 5, I don't think he makes it.
Yeah, and plus, some of these wide receivers also have to play special teams. Can Lynn Bowden, is he good? I don't know if he really runs down punts and kickoffs. If he does, that's a big help for him. If not, that's going to hurt him too. It's good. I like him because he was a guy at Kentucky who was a quarterback, running back, and wide receiver, did a little bit of everything. And I think having a guy like that on your team is really, really good. But the kid they took in round 4 has a similar skill set where he averaged 10 yards a rush last year, and I think he ran the ball 12 times, 13 times. That's a lot. He averaged 10 yards a carry.
Yeah, he's a big boy.
He's a big boy, so he's got more size than him. Lynn Bowden's got a chance, obviously, but I think it's going to be an uphill battle for him, and that's going to be one of the interesting things in training camp. After those top 3 wide receivers, who are the next 2 or 3 to sort of stand out and make the most of this opportunity this summer?
Yeah, you know, in the short time Lynn Bowden did play on the Dolphins when he got his snaps, not last year, obviously, he looked real good. He has that thing that a lot of people don't have, and that's making that first guy miss. I've seen that a lot on tape. Guys got him dead to rights, one-on-one, and he always manages to get away from that guy and gets more yards. That's a skill that very few players have. He's had it in college. He has it now in the NFLs.
And he has something else too. He has something that I've seen, if you follow him on social media, he cares. Now I've been in a lot of locker rooms. I've been around a lot of players, whether in the locker room or on shows like this, podcast interviews and stuff. Yeah. Not all players care. I think fans would be shocked how much some players just view it as a job and they don't have a passion for the sport. They're in it because it's a way to make a living, just like all of us have jobs. And we work because it's a way to make a living, and we need something to do to actually pay bills and live. He cares. And if you follow him on social media, you see that sometimes come out. And that's a good thing, that a player has a heart and that they care and that they want to be great. So I'm rooting for him. I think it's going to be tough, but not impossible.
Yeah, he's a guy I really hope to see on the team. He changed his number again too. I think he's number 3. Yeah, he's number 3.
Took over the Will Fuller number. Yeah,
Will Fuller number. Maybe this is the lucky number. 3rd time's the charm too.
Exactly.
You know, maybe that's how he's got it. So some of the free agents we've signed are pretty good. You know, Teron Armstead's a great pickup. Keeping, you know, it's funny now because lost in the shuffle, big part of keeping this team intact was re-signing Ogba. After Armstead and Hill, big, you know, everyone's excited about those things, especially because the offense needs so much. Key point, though, all these coaching hires, all of it's about the run game. Mike McDaniel made his bread as the run game coordinator, you know, made his bones, I should say, doing that. He's said it quite often. We see all these weapons in the wide receiver room as we were just talking, but I'm excited to see how these new additions on this team play into this outside zone blocking. You know,
yeah.
Where do you think the most key part of all this outside of Armstead, obviously?
Yeah, the offense under Flores who didn't understand offense, and he wanted a staff he could just, I say this, I say jump, you say how high. So he wanted coaches who were never going to question him. He wanted players who were never going to question him, which is why we had no veterans on the team. Everyone was a first, second, third year guy for the most part. Nobody was ever going to question him, and if that meant we had inexperienced guys as assistants, so be it. And with this new staff, especially on offense, that's really all that changed. He's got professional football coaches in here on offense, real coaches. Now, I don't know if they're going to excel in the roles. Frank Smith has never been an offensive coordinator before. Mike McDaniel's never called plays before. The offensive line coach has never been an NFL offensive line coach before. So there's still a lot of question marks. But on paper, the talent level at wide receiver through the roof. The talent level at tight end was already great, and it hasn't changed one bit. The talent level at running back has night and day. Myles Gaskin, Salvin Ahmed, nice people, didn't get the job done. And they are what I like to call borderline NFL players. On most teams, they're a number 3 back on a practice squad. We had them as our 1s and 2s. That's not good enough. We got 3 capable NFL running backs. The offensive line, I say this, and it's May, there's still time, and there's still a lot of guys out there to be signed. To me, this offense is a house of cards. We are 1 injury away. First off, the offensive line last year was so bad. We're bringing back 3 of those starters. Now, I'm not saying you got to get 5 new ones. That's unrealistic. But 3 of them are coming back. At me, no more than 2 are coming back. As of right now, if we had a game tomorrow, 3 are coming back. That scares me. Number 2, they're working Connor Williams at center, which he's never played center in the NFL. It's got me a little nervous there, I'm not going to lie. And 3, we're 1 Teron Armstead injury away. If you look at the games he's missed in his history.
Well, I think we can almost assume Teron's going to miss some games. So.
Well, then we're back to Liam Eichenberg and Austin Jackson as your starting tackles. So has this offensive line, if we go Armstead and Connor Williams on the left side, which I know all fans want, it's what I want. We need that. That's from center over. That's scary. I mean, I've seen Austin Jackson fail at left tackle and fail at left guard. I have no hope he's going to have success at right tackle. Call me crazy. Just call me crazy. I've seen.
So you don't think we can get a better coaching and better scheme, and also just
I understand. Yes,
a little bit of growth from some of these young guys though too.
Coaching and scheme does help, but I don't know how much it helps. Is it going to make someone who was bad good overnight? I don't think so. I think it's going to make someone bad adequate, but are we hoping for adequate? Is that what we want? And the thing is, I'm not saying don't give them a chance. Don't run them out of town. I'm saying we need a plan B, and we don't have a plan B. Liam Eichenberg or Austin Jackson will be your starting right tackle this year. Both those guys struggled mightily last year. I'm saying go out and get someone as a plan B in case we go through all of August and these 2 guys can't play, or they're still struggling like they did last year. We don't see the leap that we all want and hope.
So no faith from Greg Little even, being a guy
Greg Little couldn't get in the lineup last year. What makes you think he's going to get in the lineup this year? Last year would have been the year to crack the lineup. Nobody in front of him.
I don't know. Maybe some of that was some of the bad coaching we've seen too, just putting guys in bad situations. And I think
there is some of that.
Pierre Jean-Pierre was over his head, and the scheme changed from a power scheme to the zone blocking. I think will be a little better. Hopefully, they get a little bit more. Look, they can't get any friggin' worse, could they? They can only go.
You can always get worse. Well, you can always get worse.
That's true, man. You get the injury bug bite, and
I know everyone. Dolphins fans always mention the center, J.C. Treader. We got to get J.C. Treader. The Dolphins have given no indication that they're even interested in this guy. Now, that doesn't mean they won't sign him, because they might get to July or August and be like, we need somebody. But they have given, when they signed Melvin Ingram, they brought him in for a visit. They've talked to him years past. You could sort of see it coming. They want him. They're interested. Then there was a report that they were talking to Akeem Hicks and Carlos Dunlap. They're talking to the agent. It was if one of those moves happened, which it did with Melvin Ingram, you sort of saw it coming. There's been nothing about J.C. Treader. So I see all these fans of Dolphins talking. I was like, guys, you might be waiting around. I don't think they want him.
There's a lot of rumors that fly around. I think I would anticipate that it is a contingency plan. He's a veteran sitting out there. There's a lot of time. They still got money.
They got a lot of money. A lot of money.
I kind of disagree with you a little bit though, Mike. I like the idea of Connor in there at center if he can.
Who's going to be your left guard then?
Well, I mean, look, I kind of said it like this. I was like, if I had to take my top 5, if we didn't look at position and we just said the best 5 offensive linemen are starting 5, Michael Dieter wouldn't be one of those starting 5.
No.
You know what I'm saying? So I'd rather put Ike, Austin Jackson at left guard where he was, let him stay there. And if when Armstead goes down, he could slide out to left tackle where he's been playing. Maybe we can have a little. I know it sucks, but he's got all his stuff. That's a little bit more feasible to me.
Yeah, and my whole thing is, I'd be okay with that if we signed one more guy. I don't even care if it's a tackle or a guard.
You don't have faith in like Larnell Coleman or
Coleman. No,
Robert
I have
Jones.
Faith. Robert Jones, I have some faith in because I liked what I saw.
He's got the arms on that guy.
Him, I got a little faith in because he wasn't sort of, I'd like to say, ruined last year. Like Liam Eichenberg, they ruined that poor kid. They moved him around so much.
Man.
He was ruined by that staff. That's why I have a little hope for him. Actually, I don't think he's as bad as what we saw on tape last year. So
Eichenberg's my starting right tackle. I think he edges out Austin Jackson for the starting job.
He's your starting right tackle. Or if they do put Connor at center, I could see him at left guard too. Whatever they do, just pick a damn spot and leave him there, and just don't bother the kid. That's my whole thing. Is sort of find the spots because we've seen this with Joe Philbin, Tony Sperano, Adam Gase. Flores, they mix and match so many guys. And then you get to week 1 and nobody's been set. It's like this is the time to, move people around. Once you get to August 1st, you got to stop that.
We're not, though. It's almost like you can guarantee that we're not going to do that. We're going to rotate these guys around. And I even said before, I said offensive line by committee. Because that seems to be how we do it anytime.
It is. And I understand, you have to slide some guys around. So in case there's an injury, what's your plan B? I get there needs to be a little bit of that, but we just overkill it and we do it too much. And with Michael Dieter, I'm with you on him. We think alike there because, some fans are the offensive line has been so bad in recent years. They're like, well, he's not the worst one. So it's like, that's like being Mo from the Three Stooges.
Yeah.
He's the smartest of the bunch. He's still an idiot.
He's in a group of idiots. Yeah,
he's a group of idiots. He's the smartest of the idiots. So he's not as bad as some of the people around him. That doesn't make him good, though. And I'm with you on Look, once again, I just want them to sign one more guy. I don't care if it's a guard, center, or tackle, just so we have more options. And then we'll see. Because I just want a plan B. Because what I saw mainly out of Austin Jackson last year, some of the stuff on tape was really not good. And some of that stuff is more than coaching.
Yeah, I know. Some of it's him like overthinking or second guessing and stuff. There's some bad plays on that. He did so much better at guard. I will give him that.
Oh yeah,
less responsibility, and if he's got a veteran on each side, I think he could even. It's best for him staying on the left, moving him to right. You're just screwing the kid up more. I think I worry about it, man. I really do.
But that's $1 million question because for everything they've done on this offense, and they have reshaped it. And I think the play calling is going to be better. Everything's going to be better.
Yeah, everything. Coached better. Everything.
But it's a house of cards because that offensive line isn't better, or it's only marginally better. We're going to have the same issues we had last year. We really are.
It's almost like I wish we could go and get somebody like you're saying, like John Jenkins is to our D line.
And those guys are out there right now.
They're out there. He's a great veteran, makes little money, but you can count on the snaps he's out there for what you want him to do. You can count on or Adam Butler too. Adam Butler played a ton of snaps.
Same thing.
It for whatever reason we haven't done that yet. There is money. I think the Dolphins have like 15 million left. They might. They
Well,
very well may.
well, look, they've gone all in this year on everything.
Yeah, they have.
So they will spend money. But here's a couple names right now who, once again, 1-year deal, not a ton of money. Maybe they start, maybe they're a backup. Hopefully we sign someone and they're just a backup.
Yeah.
You can go out there and bring back Eric Flowers. You can go out there and sign Nate Soldier, Riley Reef, someone of that nature, not a big name guy. The guy from the Bills who was cut, who was their right tackle last year, Williams, he'd be the perfect guy in Miami. Have him as your plan B at right tackle if both Eichenberg and Austin Jackson don't pan out there, because then you can move those guys into guards, have him be your backup. Play Williams at right tackle. He's better than what we got. Someone like that on a 1-year deal, so on a Melvin Ingram type of deal. That's what we need. I'm not asking for the moon here. I'm just asking for one more veteran.
Yeah, it would. I guess, yeah.
More options.
We've got 2 veterans on there right now. And, I mean, I wouldn't call Dieter a veteran. You know, he's just still
because he didn't play enough.
He hasn't. So we have 2 veterans on there, and they're both free agent signings. Maybe it might behoove them to get a third one just to help the unit out. I don't know. I do think with all the coaching staff they brought in here, that alone, if they're anything like the coaches we were promised we got, they got to be able to figure that offensive line out if they don't bring anybody in.
They're offensive-minded coaches, yeah. They're offensive-minded coaches. That's what's going to help there.
Well, offensive mind and blocking scheme, too, to John Embry, to everybody up and down as far as blocking. I mean, Wes Welker was a great blocking wide receiver. He knows how it means it, and all the receivers. Everybody blocks now. So hopefully we'll be seeing a more physical Miami football team than we have in years past.
Oh, we're going to run the ball a lot more. This is a run-first team, as it should be, because, once again, all leads back to the quarterback. This isn't a quarterback who you want to drop back 40 times a game and throw it. He's not built that way, which is fine. You can win a Super Bowl with a guy not built that way. But if you're not going to be built that way, you have to be a power running team. You have to play ball control, play action, throw it down the field, and it's going to be a run-first team, which it should be, because that plays to everyone's strength. We got 3 running backs. One of them's got home run speed. Sony Michel he can block. He'll do the things that might not show up on the stat sheet. Chase Edmonds can do a little bit of everything. We got 3 good backs when healthy. You got a quarterback who really doesn't turn it over all that much. So if you just don't ask him to throw it 40 times and win games with his arm, we're going to be set. And we got the weapons and speed at wide receiver. We just need to protect the quarterback and be able to run the ball. And I just hope and pray these coaches have a scheme that works and they can coach these guys up, because if not, we are going to be back at square one. And for all the money we spent and for all the things we did, I just wish we did a little bit more on the offensive line. Just one more guy is all I'm asking for. It's still May. There's time.
Yeah, you might get your wish.
Everything we've done. Yeah, with everything we've done, it's like, don't skimp there. Just don't skimp there. Go, just get something else.
Yeah, you might get your wish. They might go.
Well, I think I will.
They're gonna go. You know what? We're gonna cut a guy, bubble guy. We'll say Greg Little. He's not gonna be our 8th offensive lineman, whatever they keep. We're gonna cut him and go and get somebody else.
What was that trade last year? Give a 5th-round pick for a guy who couldn't correct that lineup. If you couldn't get on the field, if you couldn't beat out the guys in front of him, I mean, we give a 5th-round pick for a guy who never played. I don't think he played one snap. Look, I
don't think he's the guy to get cut if they do get somebody. I think he's going to make this roster. I think Greg Little's.
He could. But Jones is the guy to keep an eye on.
Jones is big, dude. His arms. He's big
and he's agile.
Yeah.
I know someone put up a comment there about one of the undrafted guys. It's tough. It's tough for the undrafted guys.
It really is.
I mean, if they make the roster, great, but actually play,
Kellen Deesh and Andres Blaze, which is the coolest name.
Even if they make the team, that's great. But the play, I mean, I don't know if we want to be starting undrafted guys. What's that say? It's like, was every team wrong not to draft them? It's like,
yeah. One of the questions I had was any moves you'd like to see the Dolphins make, but obviously you just answered that with
offensive line and corner. I think we need one more corner, only because, again, Howard and Jones are outstanding. Nick Needham is great in the nickel. After that, there's a drop-off. And if anybody out there is a fan of Noah Ibenagany, I apologize. But once again, like Austin Jackson, I've seen it a lot where I just don't have faith yet. Call me crazy. And we lost Justin Coleman. Not that he was great, but he was a veteran cornerback who played a lot last year. And we never really replaced him. So I would like another veteran because, once again, say Howard Jones, once again, the what if. I know fans don't like to think that, but as a general manager, you got to have a plan B. And what if they go down for a month? One of those guys. Nick Needham, he can go outside, but then what do you do at nickel? Mm-hmm. They need one more veteran corner. Doesn't have to be, once again, not a big name guy, 1-year deal, not a ton of money, just a veteran. So someone like Justin Coleman. I know he wasn't great last year, but someone along those lines. You're not going to have a star at every spot. Just someone along those lines, a veteran. I would like that because until Noah Ibenagany, like Austin Jackson, show me something, I don't have faith in them. I will say this with Noah. I don't know if he's just really bad, but Flores didn't even have him active most weeks. And I thought that was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I thought what Flores did with Hunter Long and with Noah for where they were drafted, and it does matter. Some fans go, one was picked around 1, one was picked around 3. To not even have them active, either one of those guys most weeks.
And Solomon Kinley ended up in the doghouse. You never heard from
Solomon
him
Kinley, he's a big boy. He's a big boy. And that I kind of get because he can't move. He's so big, which he's got to get the weight under control.
Actually, I've seen his Instagram as of late. It looks like he's dropped quite a bit of pounds too.
Good.
So that's good. He looks agile. He looks slim. He looks slim.
But that one, I kind of understand that. So, but those other two, it's like we took Hunter Long in round 3, which just probably falls more on Greer than Flores, but who knows who made that pick. It's like you have all these tight ends. You took a guy, he was never active. And he wasn't hurt. I know he got hurt like in August, but he was fine. Yeah. And he just, it's like, why'd you take him then?
I think we all expected to see more of Hunter Long. I'm excited. I think, look, when I watched his tape from college, he looked good. And in this system, he's a perfect type of tight end for this system. John Embry, the tight ends coach, Kittle swears by him. A lot of these good tight ends over the years swears by him. If Hunter Long could be anything, that guy's going to.
Here's the other thing, too. Tying back to the wide receivers and how many they keep, Mike Gesicki is really a wide receiver. He ain't a tight end. So that will play a factor into how many wide receivers they keep because he almost never puts his hand in the dirt. He's always lined up in the slot as a wide receiver. So that is also will play a factor into how many wide receivers they keep because in a tight end, it does allow them to keep Shaheen, Smythe, Long probably, Ethan Carter, special teams contributor. He might on paper they might carry like 5 tight ends, but it's really only 4.
Yeah, because there's some fullbacks.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
And we got the fullback this year too. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that Ethan Carter's an interesting guy to me because he plays that fullback tight end position. I think he's a guy. I don't want to say he's a lock on the team, but he's a hard guy to get rid of with his special teams contributing and his multiplicity. He's a hard guy to cut. And when I did my 53-man roster cuts, he didn't make it, but that was one I was hung up on.
He's one that probably coaches like more than fans because he can do multiple things, and fans sometimes don't always understand that, and they think, well, I don't see stats. It's not all about stats. He does things that he can fill multiple roles with
in a pinch. In a pinch, that guy's going to be able to fill it in and take it too.
Yeah,
that's a valuable thing.
It's going to be interesting because we haven't had this problem in many years where it's like who's going to make this team, who's going to get cut. Now we have so much. I don't want to say so much talent. But we have improved talent and more talent. There's going to be some tough cuts, and it's going to be interesting to see wide receiver, especially offensive line. Obviously, not so much because it's so great. Just who's gonna survive and make this team and play and who won't, because there's going to be some guys like Solomon Kinley. He might be a guy who's let go. I can't believe
I think Solomon Kinley he didn't make my cut when I did my roster.
It's going to be a tough one.
It is. It really is. And he's somebody that could do some damage at left guard, but in that scenario I laid out, it was between I think Robert Jones made it in over him.
Because in this scheme for offensive line, you got to be able to move.
You got to run. These guys are going to run.
And you got to pull, and you got to be able to block on the run. That's not
get out of the way.
Point.
They need offensive linemen to get to the second level.
Exactly with the scheme. It's a zone blocking scheme. Guys are going to be able to move and block on the run, and that's not his strong point. Tough for him. So, especially in offense, because I think we know what we have on the other side of the ball is going to be pretty much the same as it was last year. Throwing a few new pieces, obviously. Linebacker is going to be interesting now because I do think, obviously, Channing Tindall is going to make the team. The kid from Cal, good, got a chance. Not because I think he's some all-world player, but because guys like Sam McGuavon, Riley, they were part of the problem last year at linebacker. I know they resigned.
Riley didn't do so bad. Sam McGuavon did. There was inconsistencies in McGuavon.
Yeah, I mean, those guys, you can't say Miami had issues at linebacker last year. Then bring everyone back and say,
we'll be all right.
Exactly. It's like same thing with the offensive line. At least with the offensive line, you have a new scheme, you have some new coaches. On defense, it's the same scheme with the same coaches. You can't say bring everyone back. So I do think they're going to give someone like Good a chance to really beat out somebody. Hope with him it's tough though because he's not a true outside linebacker. He's not a true middle linebacker. Special teams is where he's going to make his name. And if they can find a role for him at linebacker, I'm sure they would love to cut someone like Scarlett, Riley, and have him win one of those spots that's a backup. Because, Roberts ain't going nowhere. Tyndale's not going nowhere. Baker's not going nowhere. And also, linebacker in this league now, you don't need as many because you're always in nickel. You're always in nickel, or you're always in dime. So you don't need a ton of linebacker. Yeah, it's almost like the fullback. You don't see it that much anymore.
You really don't, And I look at a kid like Good. That kid, I mean, physically, the measurables, if they see something that can be coached up in what he's got as a specimen, he's a monster.
He's at worst he's on a practice squad. At best, he will win a job. Tyndale, I'm excited to see because I think for where they got him around 3. Look, pick 102. You're just happy someone like that falls to you. I think if they use him right, which the last staff last year with the first round pick, Jalen Phillips, for the first month, they didn't use him right at all. But then something went off and they finally started to use him right. This staff, I know it's the same staff on that side of the ball, but the head coach ain't there. Yeah. If they just use Tyndale how he should be used as a heat-seeking missile, see ball, chase ball, blitz, that's it. Don't have him go in coverage. Don't have him think too much. Just let him just be who he is. I think in year 1, in that specific role, they'll have a lot of success. Year 2 and 3, you can start teaching them all this other stuff to be a more well-rounded linebacker. Year 1, just play to his strengths. Play to his strengths.
Keep his duties on the snaps. Keep it simple. I mean, maybe if someone's catching a ball that he's got to cover, it's the running back. You know what I'm saying? That's your man on that job.
Use him the way he should be used. Phillips last year, we read the reports to Flores, and if you saw the games, especially in the preseason and probably their first month, they had this guy dropping back in the cover. You took the kid 18 overall because of his pass rush ability. Just let him put his hand in the dirt and just get after the quarterback. Just don't have the kid overthink this too much. But and then they finally sort of let him do that halfway through the season, and he had 8.5 sacks, which if not for the guy for the Cowboys, he would have got a lot more attention with 8.5 sacks as a rookie.
Yeah, I expect to see a jump from him. He looks too. That kid to me, him and Holland got some of the most upside of anyone on the football team. Yep. Phillips to me is especially just because of the position. That could be a gold jacket wearer right there. That kid someday
you put him opposite Agba, throw in Ingram, Andrew Van Ginkel, who longtime listeners of
I love Andrew.
I love him. I was on him as a rookie. I know he didn't play much as a rookie; he was hurt, but I loved it. He is just a guy who finds the ball.
He's just flying around all over the joint.
Always around the action. And some guys are like that, and you can't put a price on that. You can't explain it. They just find the action. They're always around the ball where something's going on. And those are guys that winning teams, Super Bowl winning teams that are contending for Super Bowls, they have a couple guys like that who are just always around when something's going on. And those are guys you need.
Yeah, you can't. If you had a whole football team, and a lot of people give Jerome Baker a hard time. I like Jerome Baker. I get that
I
maybe
like
he's
him.
a little bit of an inflated price, but they use him in so many ways that if you had nothing but a bunch of Jerome Bakers, you'd have a damn good football team. You know what I'm saying? Like
At
he
the end
plays
of
the.
last year, when they moved him outside a little bit more and just had him rush the quarterback, he was really good at it.
Oh yeah, he's really good
I
at it.
wouldn't be shocked if we see a little bit more of that because this league is all,
It's all about confusion.
football. It's about two things: protect your quarterback, get after theirs. That's really what. If you just take the sport and game, people talk about schemes and this play calling and this. He's in a 5 technique, a 3 technique. They make it too complicated. Just you got to protect your quarterback, and you got to make their quarterback uncomfortable and get after him, make him move, not let him be comfortable in the pocket, and make his life hell. And what we saw from him last year, I think with this pass rush this year, they've got a nice little nucleus. It's not the biggest names in the world, but they can be successful just making opposing quarterbacks' life hell, so to speak. And it's going to be interesting to see Josh Boyer with no Flores just call his game. Because we're going to know quick if it was Josh Boyer or if it was Flores the past few years who made that side of the ball click. I'm sure it was a little bit of both because it's never one or the other. It's always in the middle of the truth. Let's be honest. It is. So, but I want to see Josh Boyer now with no Brian Flores just do his thing. And I think it's going to be fine. I know some fans wanted someone else to have that job. I'm like, it's fine. Josh Boyer is fine for this year. Let's see what happens. I'm not worried on that side of the ball. I do think some fans sort of heap too much praise because last year the games we played well against, or where they look good, was against Joe Flacco, Zach Wilson, Mike Glennon, Ian Book, Tyrod Taylor. That's when that side of the ball really came to life. When they played guys like Wentz and Carr, Allen, and Brady, they didn't look so hot. So, but that's also expected. You're going to look bad against good quarterbacks and look great against bad quarterbacks. So I want to see them this year, though, without the Flores drama. And there was a lot of it. Just what they do on that side of the ball, because it's not bad. Clearly, it's not bad. I don't know if it's as good as we saw last year. I do think they did feast on a lot of bad quarterbacks. So I'm interested to see them this year now. Holland's not a rookie. Phillips isn't a rookie. Melvin Ingram, he's a veteran. That's a man right there. That's a man. He ain't coming in here to mentor nobody. He ain't coming in here to tutor nobody.
He got a job to do.
He's got a job to do, and he's going to come in here and try to meet every one of those incentives in his contract and get every dime that he can. I think that side of the ball is going to be good, but it's going to be interesting how it is with no Flores and his input.
Does Boyer, have something up his sleeve even potentially? Yeah,
we don't know.
We don't. Maybe Boyer was getting held back. I don't know because it got real cloudy. During the season we were hearing, oh, Boyer was calling now this and that, and then when we heard the success, then Jared Alexander when he went to Jacksonville, he took credit. It was a whole thing. It's odd. We'll know for certain.
We're gonna go quick because that first month of the season is no walk in the park.
No, it is not. The team's going to have to come out swinging. They're going to have to be ready. I guess I think that's a good reason why we kept everything intact, at least in the defensive unit. I think we can just also expect, a lot of people forget a lot of these games wasn't a lot of offensive productivity year round. Our quarterback was injured for quite a few games. There's context to that to the drama part, but we won't get into that. But that defense was a lot, lopsided on the field at times. If we just have more balance, especially with this run game, defense is going to feel juiced up when they held a stop and then the offense scores on that. That's how many times as a defense did you get good field position for the offense to get you 0 points, much less get far and away and start winning this football game. There's things to be said that this offense can balance out a lot of that extra work the defense is doing, which might produce a better product.
Yeah, offense. Yeah, that's his offense at times last year was just so bad.
Terrible sometimes, man.
On many levels.
Yeah.
And if this offense just time of possession improves, give the other side of the ball a little bit of help, some more points, give them a little bit more of a cushion to play with, give them some more rest, sitting on the bench, they're not always on the field, 3 and out and punt, 3 and out and punt, 3 and out and punt. All that is a factor. So I looked at that first month of the schedule, 2-2 or better. Just
2-2.
Don't be less than 2-2. Don't be less than 2-2. 2-2 or better. 2-2 or better, which I think is realistic because the AFC is so stinking tough. What happened last year when you start 1-7? Yeah, we won a bunch in a row. We almost, made it in. That's not going to happen every year where you can get off to a bad start and just, go on a streak like that, especially with this schedule this year. It just ain't going to happen. And plus, we're not going to catch the breaks of playing so many lackluster quarterbacks in a row.
Yeah, how many backup quarterbacks we play in getting those winning games too?
A lot. Even the ones who weren't, like Mac Jones, who we beat twice. He was a rookie last year. He can be a little better this year. I don't love Mac Jones. I know a lot of fans of Dolphins have no respect for him. I have some respect for him.
I have zero respect for him, honestly.
He did make the playoffs last year, so I got to give him something. But yes, I don't think he's great by any means, and they don't have a lot of great weapons around him either. But he's going to be a little better now than he was last year. Got to give him that, like a little better.
I think Patriots win 8 games this year.
I'm with you on that.
I think they take a massive step back, losing McDaniels, losing J.C. Jackson, and I think Bill gets exposed a little bit, reaching a little bit, draft picks, the whole nines.
I
don't know if that's where they'll live. Yes, that's what I'm saying.
They were way too happy to trade for Devontae Parker. Way too happy.
Their fans.
They gave up a third round pick for Parker. I wouldn't give up a 6th round pick for him. They were way too eager to give up a third. I'm like, do these guys watch this? No, because there's nothing to watch. He's never on the field.
Well, that's just it. You know what? They just know what Devontae's looks like against them. That's where his best games. If he took all of Devontae's versus the Patriots games, he's like one of the best receivers ever. He's got all his 100-yard games are against them. So now he's going to be the worst receiver ever because he's not playing against the only team he did good against. We've been going for a little while now, Mike. I usually take a long show. I know you go on for like an hour, so I don't expect you to stay on all night long. I got other stuff and everything.
It's a Friday night. I'm good.
All right, good deal. Because I got some stuff there, Mike. All right. Did you see the cam that they got out there? They asked who the best dancer was. Did you see that video?
I didn't see that one.
All right.
I did see a little bit of something, but I didn't really watch it.
Yeah, I got it here. Let me pull it up for you. Let's get her pulled up here. All right.
That's on the team. Me. Need we say more?
Hey, real quick.
Need we say more?
They don't want me to get in here. Hold on.
Dancer on the team is me.
Timmy had to throw you. Timmy had to throw you. Hey, Timmy had to throw you. And I better be on there this time.
Nah, don't do that. Me. The best dancer on the team is me. Pre-game, me. It's me. M.E. Hollywood, Vaughn.
Trey be out there.
Me.
Maybe Michael Daniel. Blake.
Definitely not me.
Gotta go to Rob or Javon Hall.
Okay, yeah, I'll give Vaughn that.
The best dancer. Always get sturdy.
It's not him. It's not him.
Best dancer on TV.
Benito.
It is for sure not Byron.
Hey, tell the camera it's me.
It's not you.
For surely not him. No. Y'all damn.
That's got to be
One
Robert
of the best
Hunt.
bits. Yeah, that was Robert Hunt that doing the dancing in the beginning there. I mean, he stole away with it. Big man
he's by
doing
far
the
the best dancer.
Oh man, by far, at least on tape. I mean, the evidence is there. He wins as far as I can tell.
Him or Tua. I think he's one. Number 2 is Tua. Just from that video.
Yeah. There's a it's good. I guess we didn't see this type of energy. I will say that. Flores stick in the mud a little bit. Business.
Run to the wall, touch the wall.
Hey.
Like they're like it's not high school. Can't make them run laps every time these guys,
when he was doing it, it made sense. He just didn't. There wasn't the growth thing. I wonder, there was some real pettiness on that end.
He screwed up year one. That's all and part of that goes to Greer. Like, if the plan was we're going to lose and get the top pick, why did you hire a guy who wasn't on board with that plan? So that falls on Greer. But then if you're Flores, there's a little common sense here. The first common sense is Tom Brady on the boat. If Tom Brady wants to play for your team, who says no to that? That's number one. Number two,
a spy, a Belichick spy. That's who.
Yeah.
Now we can get crazy.
And number two is you're halfway through the year. I think they started off 0-7. Most of the guys on the team weren't going to be there next year. So this whole thing is he has to build a culture. Build a culture with players who aren't going to be here in 5 months. It makes no sense. You traded for Rosen, not him, the team did. You're 0-7. Play Rosen. If he plays well, great. You might have something here. Even if you don't want him long term, you have a tradable asset because you're probably going to take a guy anyway to the top of the draft next year. You have a tradable asset to get something back for. Or B, he loses and you ensure you have the number one pick. This guy's got Ryan Fitzpatrick out there. He's running trick plays with the punter and the kicker, trying to win these meaningless games. It's like he's and then they take a quarterback at 5, which he might have liked in the moment, but quickly after he's like changed his tune on him. It's like he set himself up for failure. And look, I don't know what he was told by Ross and that whole lawsuit. That's a whole different story. But if Brian Flores, just football 101, why'd you take the job if you weren't on board with the plan, number one? Chris Greer, why'd you hire a guy that wasn't on board with the plan? And number 3, once you're 0-7, understand we're looking forward to next year. And next year is getting that top pick so I get my quarterback of choice. It might have been Tua originally, but then Joe Burrow has a big year. Hey, you want Burrow. Now you can't get him.
Yeah. And it's been pretty well common knowledge that they tried to trade up for Burrow. And it is what it is at this point. I do know what you're saying, though. Why Flores seemed to sabotage himself a lot.
He sabotaged himself. I understand.
How did we hire a guy like this, man? And, I love Chris Greer personally. I'm a big Chris Greer supporter myself. But how the hell did he miss the mark with Flores
I don't know.
being like this?
Now, I knew they were friendly, and he was sort of the guy he zeroed in on, which was fine. Yeah. And Flores, I think he's a good person. I do think he's a good person. I think, and I know we kind of have to go there, for a minority to get a head coaching job, it's rare in this league. It just is. So he got his chance, and he wanted to do it his way, which I respect that. But there's also just a common sense aspect of, like I said, year one, we're 0-7. I know you don't want to lose them all, and you want to win, clearly. But it's like, why did you keep throwing Fitzpatrick? It just made no sense. At a certain point, you want to throw Fitzpatrick out there so you get a win or two. I get that. But when you're in December, and it's clearly, you're playing for nothing with guys who you're going to cut literally in a month. Like, how many guys from that 2019 team are still here?
And then in 2020, when they have Fitzpatrick still, Flores has bought all in that Fitzpatrick is going to be his guy through the end of the year. They end up throwing Tua in, probably at the behest of Flores. I think we can all assume that was a management calling put Tua in for probably not a good idea.
Well, he never told Chan-Gailey. How do you run a team and not tell your offensive coordinator? We're a couple weeks out. Like, I know fans of Dolphins hated Chan-Gailey, which I didn't get.
I didn't hate Chan-Gailey.
In 2020, we had 0 weapons on offense, and they won 9 games.
We averaged 23.4 or 23.9 points a game that year.
He can only play the hand he's dealt. You can't, if you don't have wide receivers, you can't drop back and pass it 40 times. If you don't have an offensive line, you can't put your quarterback in a position. But for a head coach not to be like, hey, Chan, in a week or two, we might be going to Tua, start getting ready, to not do that and to pick up the phone on like a Monday or Tuesday and say, hey, Chan, we're starting the kid this week. What? He's not. You gotta you have to prepare your staff. You have to let your coordinator know what's going on so he can prepare and not be blindsided by what's going on. And that's not a healthy way to run a team. Obviously, he fired so many. I mean, when he fired the offensive line coach the third day into training camp, that should have been – and I said on our show, look, I don't know if this guy's any good or not as a head coach. That's a red flag to me. How can you – the first hire he made was the offensive line coach. He gave him 3 days. What?
Yeah, that was weird. It was very odd. Weird. And it wasn't like they brought somebody better in that was consensus better.
Oh.
You know, it wasn't that. It was the guy's fired, and then we're going to
I always say, like, when they were winning last year, all those games, and fans are like, oh, man, we won, we're happy. I go, yeah, we won, but A, B, C. This isn't normal. Like, some of the stuff he was doing, not normal. Hunter Long, 3rd-round pick, not active. That's not normal. So-and-so, that's not normal. They did this in the game. That's not normal. Like, some of this stuff, like, the whole thing with the Watson thing, I always said he wasn't even smart enough to just lie. Just, like, stand up in the podium and say, we don't want Watson. Once he says that, you stop being asked about it, and it's a non-story, and you won't be asked about it again. You can still tell Houston, look, we have to say this. You still want to talk about trade. We'll talk with you behind the scenes. But we have to say this publicly. Houston would have been like, okay. What do they care? You know what I mean? It's like he wasn't even smart enough to lie about it.
You know, is it just and Color said it earlier in the chat. It's just his pride. Did he just believe that he was end all be all, untouchable? And, you know, to touch on this real quick, I Am Athlete is also on Sirius XM radio, and they have and they have LaShawn McCoy on there, and he said something about Eric Bieniemy being a hard ass, being a kind of person that talks at you and rubs people the wrong way, and that's why he never gets the head coaching hire. You know, said it at the end of the show, hasn't put any more context on it. But if from now what I know about Flores as the head coach, and now knowing why it really didn't work out, a winning head coach, a 2-time potential coach of the year, which is just odd to say all those things and then him be this prideful person that can't work with others. It's just insane to me that so much winning happened with so much dysfunction, where usually that, you know, the dysfunction doesn't come when you're winning. You're supposed to not have dysfunction. First of all, it's supposed to be working. That's how you win. But it's a weird situation. And I wonder if that's how the hell this guy slipped through the cracks? Like Eric Bieniemy, apparently people, according to Shady McCoy, that's why he's not a people person, as they say.
Let's be honest. Every assistant coach who's come out of New England has had the same issue, and they failed for the same reason. Josh McDaniel with the Broncos, I don't know about this time around. We'll see. Charlie Weiss with Notre Dame. O'Brien with Houston. Flores, Joe Judge. Every single one. They leave New England, they go someplace else, and they try to be a mini Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick can stand up at a press conference and be a prick because he's got a Super Bowl ring for pretty much every finger as either a head coach or an assistant. When you got that many rings, you can be a prick. You can have a couple off years. People are going to give you the benefit of the doubt no matter what. When you haven't won squat as a head coach, you can't act that way. Brian Flores, and everyone said with Flores, he won't be like the rest of the assistants. And after year one, we all kind of thought that maybe he's not. Maybe he's his own man, which he was. But at the end of the day, he fell into that thing of it's my way or the highway.
Yeah.
And you can't, I know people don't see NFL football like a professional job. It's no different than being a CEO at Apple or Google or anything like that. It's a professional environment. And everyone's a millionaire. Like most of the players, if they're not millionaires, they're close to it. Some people are multimillionaires. You have an owner who's probably worth billions. Every team does. You have to interact in a professional manner. And if you can't work with people, I don't care what job. If you work in a bank, you work in a car wash, you have to work with people. You have to interact with people. You have to handle yourself professionally. And he couldn't, especially in that role. That role, yes, on the field, X and O's, that stuff's important. How you handle the media, how you treat people in the building, all that stuff, that's equally as important because you're the face of the franchise in many ways.
You know, I try to say it like this on the show often. I say, look, you got to remember the business aspect, and that has to go into your calculus with things too, on everything involved. That the Dolphins is a team, but essentially they have 50, 60 subcontractors.
Yep.
You know, these are guys at their own brands that the team has, you know, a project manager and superintendents and stuff like that. You know, you got to kind of look at it in a different purview. And when all of these other pieces aren't working together and it holds up more production getting done, even if it's the guy in charge, you can lose your job because it holds up all the other stuff. So it was just weird to me, a very demonization of the guy, but there's obviously smoke where there's fire on how he handled himself, because there was some real big accusations being thrown around and all but confirmed of how he just basically took it to. And, you know, I can kind of see Flores, understand him a little bit, probably put himself on the outs, felt paranoid and back against the wall, and then he kind of lashed out in a very hostile work environment place. And that's just uncalled for. It's uncalled for.
Like two things can be true at the same time. Number one, could he have been told lose on purpose and all that stuff? And maybe it was serious, maybe it was a joke. I don't know. I wasn't there. But could that be true? Absolutely, it could be true. But it could also be true that this guy could interact with people and it wasn't a healthy work environment. Both things can be true. So I don't know how that lawsuit's going to play out. I do think in some way Miami's going to get some sort of a punishment. I'd be shocked if they weren't, just because the optics is bad. It's like Watson. I saw like the Watson piece on HBO Real Sports on Tuesday. Do I think he did something? Of course I do. Both of the girls they talked to came off as very credible. Here's what wasn't credible. Watson's the lawyer representing all the girls, which is weird that one guy has all the girls, came off sleazy, and there's something going on there. I don't know what his deal is. And two grand juries in two different parts of the state didn't find enough charges. So I'm not saying Watson's a saint. I'm not saying he's innocent. But in this whole thing, he's going to get suspended because it's a bad look if he doesn't.
Yeah.
And I do. So it might be 4 or 6. Who knows? But I think with Miami, once again, there's going to be a punishment because it's a bad look if it's not. I don't know if it. I hope they got 2 first-round picks next year. I just hope whatever punishment is, they're able to keep those 2 first-round picks.
That's
they might need them.
Listen,
if they lose a second or a third, is what I think something's coming. I just don't know what it is because I just think the league knows it's a bad look that this guy had back-to-back winning seasons. He documented it when he was told to lose on purpose, and he was on the boat, and Ross said it. Maybe it was serious, maybe it was a joke. 1, he's got a witness, and 2, he sent a memo to everyone involved saying, this is what he told me at the time stamped back in 2019. So it's not like he just came up with this out of thin air. He sent the memo in 2019 to the necessary people in charge. So I think a punishment's coming. How severe it is, I have no earthly idea. I just think they're going to get, if it's a slap on the wrist, okay. If it's more than that, it's going to stink. But I think something's coming. I just don't know what the heck it's going to be or when.
Yeah, I'm hoping that nothing happens till after next year's draft.
Well,
let me get those first 2. Yeah, let me wait till then.
I think it's going to come probably.
Figure a way to kick that can. I ain't my job to figure how to kick that can, but they got enough money and lawyers to do so. I said this
half seriously, half kidding. We had those extra picks, obviously, in next year's draft. Trade them in this year's draft, move up in round 1, use them. Sure, you're still going to get punished, but they'll take away the pick in like 2024, 2025. Worry about it then. Trade those picks in this year's draft and get something out of them.
I think that's where a lot of people's thinking is on, with go get Deebo Samuel, even if it cost you both those picks or something like that, just to flush it and get rid of them, or go get somebody. Who cares? To me, they're the contingency plan to zig or zag off or on Tua if the quarterback position doesn't work.
Yeah, and I don't think it's to trade up for a rookie.
Me
only
either.
because we offered Cincinnati everything to go from 5 to 1. They said no. And there's going to be a lot of teams next year, like the Panthers, maybe the Lions. There's going to be teams who are going to want quarterbacks who, if they're picking a top of the draft and we're pick number 20 or 17, they're going to be like, you can offer us everything. We're going to say no. So there's that. And number two, this offense with all the veterans, the Hills, the Waddles, it's ready to win now. We ain't got time for another rookie.
You got time for some young kid. Yeah.
This is a race car, and you got to have a race car driver. It's not a kid for his learner's permit behind the wheel of a race car. So I think those picks are to be traded for a veteran. I don't know who the veteran is going to be. Everyone knows the names out there. It might be someone that we're not even talking about right now. But I think that's which I don't even think they will. I think Colin Cowherd put out a great video this weekend. It's not the first time he said it. I know fans don't even like anything he says. They don't even want to hear it. He's like, Tua's stats are going to be better. They almost have to be with the new staff and with other weapons. His stats will improve. But just because the stats improve doesn't mean he's a long-term answer. And I think that's where we might be at the end of the year.
I said something very similar. I said, look, even if we go to the playoffs and even potentially win a playoff game, they still might decide that Tua might not be the answer. I can't understand it, but that's not – first of all, I'm not making those decisions. But they would know, and I look no further than the 49ers right now. They've been in the playoffs with Jimmy G, going to Super Bowls with him, but they just traded 3 first-round picks to move off of Jimmy G for what they perceive to be a better option, And I don't think this team is in a position to long-term a young guy like that with the money they've spent around here. I completely agree with you. It would be a Lamar Jackson or I don't know who, whatever guy that they would perceive.
Kyler Murray. Those are the two names. Everyone thinks Murray might be on the move. Lamar Jackson, from all reports, the reason he hasn't, the Ravens want to pay him now. And it's rare that you have a player say no, because Lamar Jackson, which wants the same deal Watson got, $230 million or more, guaranteed 100%. And that's what Cleveland did. That's why the Browns can't trade Mayfield right now, because every owner hates the Browns. You gave a $230 million fully guaranteed contract. What do you think Joe Burrow's going to want? Herbert's going to want? They want fully guaranteed contracts. The Browns changed the NFL forever, and that every elite starting quarterback now will not take less than 100% fully guaranteed contract, which has never been the case in the NFL. So that's why Lamar Jackson's not going to sign right now. He'll be like, I'll risk it. Maybe I get hurt and whatever, because he wants a fully guaranteed contract like Watson got, like every quarterback's going to want now moving forward. And there's also, I know some fans don't like to hear it, there's the Tom Brady aspect that's out there. He got to deal with Fox for when he retires. That don't mean he's going to retire after this year.
Yeah.
And for anyone who thinks, and the report was Miami wanted Sean Payton and Tom Brady, and then the whole thing with Flores happened, and that just didn't happen. Let's be honest. Tua and Mike McDaniel are their plan B. Now, we're going to play this year and see how it goes, but they wanted Sean Payton and Tom Brady. And that doesn't mean after this year, they might not loop back around to that and say, Brady, if he's still playing at a high level, he's best friends with our owner in waiting. He's having a house built not far from the next owner in waiting. He lives now in South Florida. He wants to play forever. And we'll see with Sean Payton, obviously. I don't know about that coach, what's going to happen there. But
I'm very indifferent on that because, part of me, if it won me a Super Bowl, I'd be happy. The other part of me is that it would feel.
You don't want to root for Tom Brady, yeah.
I hate Tom Brady so much. I don't want, and I hate him less as a Tampa Bay guy. I actually kind of like him. I just don't want. Just go away. Just go away.
Yeah.
Just go away. Just take the equation off the table for me.
If Tua plays well, there's nothing to talk about.
I know.
If Tua struggles, then it's going to be a conversation, obviously, because Tom Brady wants to play forever. Age is just a number. This guy's still playing at a high level. When he stops playing at a high level, that's when he can start talking about, not having to sign him.
Possible? That TB12 real, bro.
It's TB12 is real. That guy,
holy cow.
He takes care of himself, and it's a drive he has. He obviously loves it. The guy loves it. He loves to play. He loves the competitiveness of it. He loves just practice year round. There's that aspect of he loves football, number one. Number two, he takes care of his body like nobody I've ever seen, especially in this sport. And number three, the rules have changed where you can't even touch a quarterback no more. So you're going to see guys play longer into their careers because quarterbacks aren't getting hit like they were in the 70s, 80s, even 90s. You can't touch them anymore.
I mean, you say that in one aspect, and then Tua gets injured last year.
Well, look, one hit and anybody's going to go down. But for the most part, if you're smart, you get rid of the ball fast, and you have a halfway decent offensive line, you're not taking a lot of big hits. Most quarterbacks who are smart, have a halfway decent offensive line, aren't taking a lot of big hits. Tua didn't have the halfway decent offensive line. He's not a savvy veteran yet. He's still a young kid. So I get that. And plus, he does have an injury history where, some guys just get injured more than others. It's just one of those things. I'm not even holding that against him right now, at least. So that one last year, look, that was a big hit he took last year. Big. Yeah, it was. I can't knock him for getting hurt there.
I know, it hurts my ribs thinking about it.
Yeah, that was a big hit.
Yeah, just looking at some stuff on
looking at this Heat game. Not that I hate the NBA too, but I just want to know if they win. They're up by 4 with less than a minute to go, so this might be interesting here.
Yeah, they need to win it, that's for sure.
If they score here because they got the ball, this game's over. Because they're up 4 with 45 seconds with the ball.
Yeah, my guy Moss Sports Talk in here has been keeping me up to date on it. I've been checking it every now and again. We're down.
I hate the NBA. And I hate the NBA, but I'll actually watch the last minute of the game to see what happens.
It's the best part of it, that's for sure.
They just won the game. They're up 107-101. Jimmy Butler just hit a big-time shot. They just won.
Nice. Jimmy Butler comes in.
If they blow a 6-point lead within 43 seconds, I'd be stunned.
So back to Dolphins talk a little bit. And shout out everybody. Make sure you're checking out Dolphins Talk. Everybody knows. Real quick, I'll do the rundown, guys. Make sure you guys are hitting the like button, subscribing to the channel, checking out Tonk 17 and my Tuesdays live at 9 with color commentary. Also catch color again on Thursday nights. You can catch Ali tomorrow night with Ali's late night exhale. Every other night of the week is TFTG, the Fins Tailgate, El Capitan. Fanatics link is in the description below. So is a link to our gear. Check it out, guys. Chase Edmonds, I think, getting lost in the shuffle. Guys like Chase Edmonds, guys like Cedric Wilson, these guys we signed a little early on were Mike McDaniel. These are important pieces to my offense. Alec Ingold. I hope this offense has a. It's kind of like you roll out your game plan for that you think is going to work best against the team you're going against. And then you find that weak link and you expose it until they adjust. When they adjust, you have the new weak link. You've seen where the adjustment came. So it's a matchup specific in certain things, but I don't know. What are we going to see out of Mike McDaniel? Are we thinking more McVay, or are we thinking more Shanahan? Because there's two different types. There's a little bit more systematic, especially with these wide receivers too.
I think immediately we're going to see a run-heavy offense until the quarterback gets comfortable enough and he can sort of – I know fans of Dolphins like to hear this. He still has a lot to prove at quarterback. Hey, what's up? He has a lot to prove, and I think until he sort of wins over the trust of he can, sling it around the field on a consistent basis, it's going to be a run-first offense. What I think Hill's going to get so much attention. Waddle's going to get a lot of attention. Guys like Cedric Wilson and Mike Gesicki, a tight end, should be running wide open down the middle of the field. I mean, most teams don't have enough guys to cover, just Hill and Waddle. And if you're going to give those guys help, then who's going to cover these other guys?
Yeah,
one.
Gesicki.
If you don't give help on Hill and Waddle, they should just be running past guys down the field and be wide open. So Mike McDaniel, I think it's going to be a run-heavy offense at first. We have to see what this offensive line is, and Tua has a lot to prove. That's not a knock on him. That's just, he isn't as good. There's something.
You know what, Mike?
He has to show something.
Tuanon's going to destroy you now.
Oh, that's fine.
You're not. There's not blind hopeful.
I'm not drinking
faith.
the Kool-Aid. I know. Whatever. No, I don't. I mean, once again with him, he's been good, but you can't say he's been great, and he hasn't been awful. He's been good. He has to show that he can, steer the ship and be a guy who can sling it around the field. And he hasn't shown that yet. And I think until he shows it, this staff is going to try to protect him a bit, which is smart. That's what they should do. But I think it's going to be a lot of running, and it's going to be I don't want to say short passes because I do think they'll take more chances down the field this year as long as the offensive line holds up. I just think before we see games where he is dropping back 25, 30 times a game, slinging it around, this is a wide open, fast break offense, we're going to work our way up to that. I don't think we're going to see it right away. That's my only point.
Yeah, I think it's the wise way to go because even out of this scheme, it's play action to pass. This run game works and it's effective. Before we signed Hill, before we signed Armstead, when we had that first wave of pickups, when it was Edmonds and stuff like that, I was like, okay, I see the plan. I had an idea of what I think is going to be important in this offense. And I said to people, look, if he comes here, he's going to want to run the football with purpose, outside zone, get push off the ball, have Tua do more bootlegs and rollouts, more play action. Yeah, he'll do the RPO, but a little bit more, rollouts and play action involved in it, and giving him some space with the offensive line and running the ball with purpose. Now picking up the more players and stuff and seeing the weapons, I guess I don't know. I can only imagine that they're going to do tricky little trap plays. They're going to have the wide receiver coming in motion, come back, do one of those little pitches out in front with the line all moving out. If they can get tricky with the ball and doing that stuff, you bring the defense into single safety and man-to-man coverage. You expose them with Waddle one-on-one on the edge. They can take those shots. We're going to be damn good.
Cedric Wilson should have favorable matchups every time he's on the field. I mean,
that's it.
He just should.
Gesicki's the guy. If they got three wide receivers,
as well. Exactly.
Gesicki should be sitting up. He should be sitting with a linebacker or a safety, and he can beat most of them.
That's what I expect. I think, from the fantasy perspective, everyone's looking at Hill and Waddle, and I'm sure they're going to have very good years. Don't get me wrong, but the sleepers are going to be Cedric Wilson, Mike Gesicki, because I think they're just going to have favorable matchups every time they're on the field. And I think we're going to see a lot of 3 wides, 4 wides, spread them out, get our key players with speed, the ball in space, whether it's Hill, Waddle, Mostert when he's healthy, get them the ball in space and let them do what they do and just, get chunk yardage plays, which we haven't had in many years in Miami. This, as I said, this is I said on our podcast, this is our most talent on offense probably since like 94, 95. Now, I know most people weren't even born back then, but this is the best offense from a talent perspective we've had since then, because even in 2002, that team, everyone expected to go far. Ricky was great. Chris Chambers was good. I mean, clearly he's good. But after that, there wasn't much. This goes back to the days of like Irving Fry or Mark Ingram, Tony Martin, like that team, Keith Byers. It was that team. They had Jackson at tight end. It was loaded offense. This is the best offense. Think about this. Since like 94, 95, we're in 2022.
Yeah, no, this is
a long
on
time.
Paper, up and down. When we're looking at guys at the bottom of our position breakdowns as guys we know would be starters on Dolphins teams these years past, and are probably going to get picked up on a lot of these teams. If Preston Williams is a free agent,
he's getting picked up by somebody.
Someone's picking him up day one. If Myles Gaskin, most of these guys are gone. They get cut. They're out of here. And other teams are picking them up right away. But that's what we need, though. We need to find ourselves more in a position where we're not picking scraps anymore. And it's a good feeling that the Dolphins have at least a better overall team than I can remember. I guess it really comes down to can McDaniel, and this is something too. You know, there's a little bit of a honeymoon period that happens when you hire a new coach. The team turns around, everyone loves everybody. There's a little bit of honeymoon going on. I'm interested to see, you know, how does Mike McDaniel do with some adversity? You know, everyone likes.
Well, yeah. Well, I've said this here. He gets no honeymoon, and it might not be fair,
true.
but when you take over a team that's had back-to-back winning seasons, you don't get a honeymoon like the guy taking over the Giants, or the guy taking over the Bears, or the guy taking, you know, he doesn't get a honeymoon here. He's taking over a team that won. So right or wrong, it might not be right. There's that. That's number one. Number two, when he does a press conference, it's obviously a bunch of laughs. But you can do that in March, April, and May, June, July. You can even do it in August. When you have a 2-game losing streak or a 3-game losing streak, the last thing anyone wants to see is your head coach up there cracking jokes, doing like a roast. Nobody wants to see it. Nobody wants to hear it. Nobody's going to have patience for it. And I think he's a smart guy. He went to Yale. I hope he understands he can't wisecrack his way out of that when they go through a rough patch. And let's be honest, every team goes through a rough patch every year. It's going to come. They're going to lose a couple in a row. Just get up there and just be a football coach at that point. Nobody wants the quick wit and the jokes and all that stuff. I hope he understands that. I'm pretty sure he does. But you never really know.
You know,
you never really know.
I'm interested to see how he handles
That's what we're going to see.
I'm very interested now.
You can do this stuff now, and everyone's going to laugh, and it's fun. Because, look, as he said on the Pat McAfee show, I am 0-0 as a head coach. And he's 100% right.
I love this self-deprecation. I like the self-deprecation.
And that's fine now. But when it's October 1st and you're like 1-3, nobody wants to hear that. The fans will turn on him so fast, nobody wants to hear it. So I hope he understands when they hit a rough patch, even if they're like, say, 7-5, but they lose a couple in a row, they're still having a good year. Just understand the moment and understand the role you're in and how you have to behave, sort of, and how to act. Because
if it was Brian Flores, if all things were the same,
he's the
and
same
he was our coach right now, it would be playoffs or bust. He would be like, you get to the playoffs or you're fired. You know?
Well, that's why I think Chris Greer, this is year 22 for him with the Dolphins in some capacity. Obviously not all as a general manager. In some capacity, this is year 22. A lot of coaches have come and gone. Once again, not all with him hiring them. I get that. But in 22 years of him with the Dolphins, he has woken up only twice in those 22 years and said, got a playoff game today. So think about that. In 22 years, he's only had that morning twice in his life. God. So the reason I think they're spending this money, the reason I think they're going all in is twofold. One, you had the last head coach who was fired, who's suing the owner, saying, you told me to lose on purpose. You have an owner saying, I told him to lose on purpose, spend a bunch of money, let's try and win. Show the world that wasn't the case, even though everyone knows the context isn't quite the same. And two, you have a general manager who's on the hot seat.
You think so? I think no matter how this shakes out, Chris Greer's still GM for one more year because of those two first-round picks.
I think
outside of absolute implosion.
Here's why. If he screwed up the last quarterback with pick 5, how do you trust him with the next one?
Well, I don't think they pick one, and I don't
still,
think.
How do you trust him with that decision, though? How do you trust him, even with the trade? How do you trust him with that? Because if Austin Jackson, if he doesn't improve, if Igbenogany doesn't improve, that means all 3 first-round picks in the 2020 draft, if you do move on from Tua, was a complete whiff. And I know last year's draft was great, but that's a tough one to come back from if all 3 are gone. Well, not gone, but just kind of failed. And plus, I do think, look, Ross held on to Jeff Ireland probably a year or so too long. And Chris Greer's been here 22 years. At some point, 22 years. I know not general manager for 22 years. At some point.
I would imagine that because he's been here so long, the reason he's risen is because he might have been the only guy doing things right. You know?
Now he's been in charge. And he obviously screwed up with Flores. And if this year, let's just say, doesn't go as expected, he might have screwed up with the quarterback. And if you're going to bring in Sean Payton, I'll tell you this, Sean Payton's going to run the show. Sean Payton ain't ain't taking Chris Greer as a general manager.
Well, I don't think Chris Greer. If Sean Payton was here now, Chris Greer wouldn't be the GM. He'd be the czar. He'd be the czar of football. He would get it. He would get a raise. That's how Chris Greer works.
Yeah,
he might not be the GM, but he's definitely not going to get fired. He's not going to go be a GM somewhere else.
Well,
they'll make him.
Let's hope this isn't the case. Let's hope we're not even talking about this.
I know,
in
right?
6 months.
God,
but it's going to be an interesting thing because Chris Greer's been here so stinking long. And I know fans just want to, this offseason's been great, which they've done a lot this offseason, but it's all on paper right now. You got to do it on the field. It's all on paper. We've had a lot of off seasons where we thought we've got a lot of good guys to help us win. It doesn't matter unless you see the results on the field. And there is going to come a point. I mean, does the guy get 25 years until you move on from him? At what point is he just like a Supreme Court judge where he's here for life?
He's a lifetime appointment.
At what point do you just say, this is not working? You got to move on. I hope it's not this year. I don't even think it will be this year. I think, honestly, as of today, if I had to bet $100 in 2023, you're going to have the same general manager, the same head coach, and the same quarterback.
God, I hope so. I hope so too, because I hope we're using those 2 first-round picks next year to add depth or an extra little weapon or whatever we want. Kind of almost luxury pick at that point.
Offensive lineman and a top-end running back.
Maybe not offensive. Maybe offensive lineman we don't even need to worry about. Maybe we're like, give me the best corner and the best running back. That would be awesome.
I got a question for you. Here's my question, because this is what I think about a lot. Mike Gesicki is on a franchise tag. He'll be a free agent next year because they're not going to franchise tag him twice. He just won't. Christian Wilkins on his 5th-year option. Do you think either one of those guys or both get a long-term deal between now and week 1 of the regular season? Or are they both going to let them play it out and test the waters next year?
I don't know how Mike Gesicki's not traded already. I'll say that first. I don't know how they haven't cashed in on the value of Mike Gesicki for whatever bevy of picks they could get off of him. Because honestly, from him being on the team to not on the team with this wide receiver room, will his presence be felt? Yes. Is he a match scheme fit for this offense? I can't see how, honestly. Now, will they use him as a weapon? Yes.
Absolutely.
Christian Wilkins? If I was general manager,
a lot of tackles last year.
If I was general manager, I would trade him and get probably a lot. But I personally believe also at the same time, Christian Wilkins up and down is everything the team believes in for a player, a person, and productivity. He's always gotten a little bit better. So I don't know what kind of money Christian would demand. It's
going to be big.
It's going to be big. It's going to be 100 plus, right? It's going to be 100 plus.
If you told me today I can only keep one, I'm keeping Wilkins because he is the emotional leader of this team, which you can't put a price on. Landry was for the longest time. Once Landry left, we didn't have it for a bit. Wilkins has sort of filled that role. When things aren't going well, when the team kind of needs to pick me up, Wilkins is the guy to get everyone all fired up. And you can't put a price on that. Every team needs at least one guy like that. And Landry was that guy. And now we have it here with Wilkins. 2, he has gotten a little bit better each year, and he plays a position that is more premium than tight end. So if I had to only pay one, I'd pay Wilkins. And now here's the deal. They can franchise him after this year. So they might string out Wilkins a bit here, play this year on the 5th, franchise tag him, worry about it down the road. Which I probably think which will happen. Mike Gesicki's an interesting one because they have so many tight ends. And he's used a 3rd-round pick on Long. If Hunter Long falls on his face, there's a good chance they keep Mike Gesicki. If Long shows anything, I think then with Smythe, Adam Shaheen, those guys are capable number 2 and number 3 tight ends. But that's all they are, number 2 and number 3 tight ends. Long has the potential to be a number 1, I think, just because he can do more. I think with
Gesicki, John Embry, along with all the reasons we've already talked about, if the offense fires, Gesicki prices himself right out of the building. Like he has such a good year that he's, around 1,000 yards receiving and 10 plus touchdowns, and we're like, oh yeah, I ain't paying him $16 million a year.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? It's not.
Well, yeah, because they're already paying Hill big money.
Yep.
Jones and Howard got big money. Ogba's got big money. You have to start thinking now. If Tua has a good year, you have to start thinking: are you going to pay him soon, long term, and pay him big money? Because if he has a year that's good, and they say he's our guy now, we're hitching our wagon, and we're all in. You don't want a long-term deal. Now, they don't have to give it to him now, but you better be ready for it come 2024. So you got to be ready for that. You give him that long-term deal, especially if he makes a big leap now with all these weapons, and he's really good, and he's the guy we all thought he would be coming out of college. You have to prepare to pay him. Waddle, if he has another big year, he's a guy you're not going to want to get rid of. So, well, yeah, Waddle and Howard are many years away. So, but you have to think big picture. Mike Gesicki, he ain't going to want a 1-year deal. You're going to want like a 4-year deal, big money, which does go into 2024, 2025, where you got these other guys who are going to want to. So cap management is going to be critical here. And I think Wilkins, I would pay him now because I think his price tag is only going to go up in time. I'd rather just pay him now, not worry about it, because they still control him with the franchise tag. But the longer you let this stuff go, as we've seen with numerous players,
the more
odds improve that you lose them. The more it costs and the odds goes that you might lose them. I would lock up Wilkins now. Mike Gesicki, play it out and see what happens. They might not need him next year. I think I'd love to have him, obviously, but they might be like, it's a luxury we can't afford at this point, especially if Hill and Waddle have big years. So like Wilson has a big year. We have wide receivers. We got these other tight ends who can sort of, they're not as good as him, but they can sort of fill that role. We'll see. But those two guys are ones to watch between now and the start of camp to see if they do anything. They might do nothing, but to see if they do anything, especially Wilkins. I would hate to lose him, and I'd hate to pay through the nose.
I think the impact is felt more with Wilkins all day.
Yes.
There's no denying that, especially, heartbeat. And again, Wilkins to me is a Chris Greer guy, like up and down. That's like exactly the type of mentality of player we see in the building a lot, that kind of personality. Not everybody, but a lot of them seem to have this boisterous, younger, attitude type of stuff. I think that's who they would love to have. Then again, Embry, and looking at Gesicki looks beefier than usual. I was looking at him. He looks like he put on some weight. It is the offseason, and when he gets running in that Florida sun, I'm sure he'll shed some of it. But I don't know. I guess if we would have seen blocking tight end Mike Gesicki, we would have seen him by now, right?
But no tight ends. No tight end. I don't want to say no tight ends block anymore. Obviously, some do. But your elite tight ends are pass catchers. Like the top of the line ones are primarily pass catchers. Nobody cares if they can block. Literally, I don't care if Mike Gesicki can block. It doesn't. That's not why you're paying him. You're paying him to make plays down the field. You're not paying him to block. Nobody cares.
I wouldn't be so hard on Mike Gesicki if not.
I'm not hard on him.
But every tackle, when he's such a big dude and like, I don't know, it don't look pretty when he gets tackled by like a 5'11", 190-pound, 195-pound guy. When you know that he could, it's like, just stick your arm out and shove him like I see somebody else. I know that's not necessarily his game, but I don't know. We're critical of Mike Gesicki, but nobody can change and reach another direction and create 3 yards of separation like that guy can.
Well, some of it's also the quarterback play. Some of his catches have been him sort of finding a spot, standing there. And, of course, when you're sort of there, you catch it, you're going to get hit, and you're going to go down. If we can get him the ball in stride, in motion, he can probably push off some guys and make, like, larger plays. Style of offense and quarterback play is a big part of it, too, when it comes to all wide receivers and tight ends. So I think with this new offense and how he's utilized will be interesting this year. I don't know if his long-term is in Miami. I hope it is. Look, he's a good player. The goal is to draft players, develop these guys, and make them a cornerstone of your team, and then actually win a Super Bowl. So you don't want to move on from these guys. But obviously there is come a point where you can't keep everybody because you can't pay everybody. But the salary cap keeps going up, which is good for retaining players because that just gives every team more money to pay the players they already have. We'll see. we will see. Those two are the two names to watch because every one of our running backs are essentially on a 1-year deal. Chase Edmonds signed a 2-year deal, but essentially he has no guaranteed money next year. So they're all on 1-year deals. And I think pretty much it's going to be survival of the fittest. They all won't be here in 2023.
That's why Chris Greer is a good GM, right? For all those reasons. That for me, he's
because they're all essentially 1-year deals. And whoever plays the best could probably get a deal for 2023. And for those who don't, they might not be here. We'll see. So that's going to be fun to watch there because those guys are all going to play hungry because they know no guaranteed money next year. And 2 of them aren't even under contract for next year.
Yeah, that's true. But that's the way the NFL, I mean, look at it. The whole roster's changed so much. That's, again, picks. Everybody's on 1-year contract. We're looking at this
Clowney deal.
Team. Yeah, we literally
4 voidable years. So it's a 1-year contract. It's not a 5-year contract.
It's a 5-year
voidable
deal.
years.
Yeah, I know.
It's a 1-year deal.
It's a 1-year deal. It's pretty brilliant, but that's why people say the cap isn't real. It can be manipulated. It's not. I mean, it is, but it's not. And I feel like right now, the currently constructed roster, as well as we look at it, we like it. And think that, hey, this is a team as currently constructed that can win football games if these things work out. I think they have the money because of how little cans they haven't really shook anybody down. Only Clayton Fedulum and Byron Jones as of recently. I feel like over the last few years with only investing draft picks and 1-year deals, even the multi-year deals like Kyle Van Noy, we found out actually it's not a multi-year deal. It's a 1-year deal and you're gone. It seems to me that Chris Greer has done a great job for allowing this team to completely look different next year. We can have a whole new deal and be well into the cap as well. And
it also
then
helps when you don't.
What is it?
It also helps when you don't have to pay a quarterback big money.
That's true.
Once you have to pay your quarterback big money, it does. I mean, look at the Packers. Once they had to pay Rodgers this offseason, Adams, sorry, can't keep you. Marquez.
Well, that's not true. The reports now are that they offered him the same amount of money he got from the Raiders. Wow. He just wanted out. I think because when you look at it too, he's going to make that money and not have to do everything for the Raiders. They still got Waller. They still got, some running backs, still got some.
Probably just wants to live in Vegas, which I can get.
Yeah.
Probably just wants to live in, ain't Green Bay. It's Vegas.
Yeah, that's true. So, Heat won. Thank goodness, everybody. I see everybody in chat.
They got a Game 7.
Yes, thank goodness. Hopefully they can.
Sunday night.
I know, right? It's Sunday night is Game 7?
Yeah, I would guess it has to be. I mean, why hold it on a Monday? You got to hold it on a Sunday. That's a better night for TV.
It's Memorial Day Monday. Maybe they'll go crazy.
I'll tell you right now. We'll check. I know it's already announced. If I had a bet Sunday night at like 8. Let's see here. Schedule. Let's go Sunday. Sunday night, 8:30. 8:30 ESPN.
Yeah.
Sundays. And then the finals start on Thursday.
All right. Well, I'm going to drop the link. Have some people come up. We'll go for like another 20 minutes or so. Let some people come in. Oh, you know what? I will ask you a question for Color. He always wants to ask the guests the same question. Which logo is it for you, for the Dolphins?
Well, the old school logo, if I had my choice. But I don't hate the new logo like some fans do. I don't hate it, but if I had my choice, it's the old school logo from the 80s or 70s, which I know it's a slight difference, but it's pretty much the same old school logo.
See, I kind of like that 2002 logo when,
See, that's the one I despise. That's
really the one where he's got
yes.
He's like he's grilling and stuff. I love that one. What do you mean? I despise this one more than.
It looks like a cartoon character. That one I don't like.
This one, that one, right there. It's the best.
Looks like a cartoon character to me.
No way! It's so good. He's mean looking. Looks like he's ready for battle. Got his helmet on and everything. Let's bring up Shake Money. What's going on, Shake?
Hey, what's going on, guys? How y'all doing, man?
Doing
How
good,
you
buddy.
doing, Shane?
How you
What's
been?
going on?
Another beautiful day in Zamunda. You know how it is.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Hold on. There we go.
There you go. Nice to see you finally. Holy cow.
Yeah,
What's
same.
going on?
Not much, man. Yeah. You know, I watch you every Sunday when you guys were on the regular with Ian.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. With Ian and Tom and everybody. Absolutely. I see you
Yeah,
on there a lot.
Shake's the man.
Oh yeah, man. I ain't gonna lie. When I first heard Mike, I was like, "Damn, this guy is negative. I don't like him." And
I'm going to acquire your taste.
Listen. Let me. And then I started hearing other Dolphin YouTubers are like, you know what? I think I like Mike now.
I ain't going to lie to you. A lot of fans lie. Lie's a strong word. They won't. A lot of fans would rather climb a tree and tell themselves a lie to feel all warm and fuzzy inside instead just admit the truth. And we're all fans of the team, but it's okay to admit the truth when things aren't going bad. Say, we still love the team, but we didn't play well this past week, and here's why, A, B, and C. And I get it. Some fans don't like to hear that. They don't want to hear anybody talk bad about their team. I get it. But as I say, you probably hear me, our podcast ain't for everybody. If you want the warm and fuzzy where nothing's ever bad, you don't have to listen. No hard feelings. I get it. But for the fans who want an honest take of this franchise, which hasn't been good in a long time, when things are good, I'll say it's good. When things are bad, I'll say it's bad. It's not that complicated. It isn't going to lie to people.
Yeah, I agree 100%. But two things I like about your show. Number one, your Manscaped ads.
You love that, huh?
Two, I love when you go on tangent rants. Those are epic.
Yeah. I had one a couple weeks ago with the whole thing about the pass there, how it was underthrown. I go, don't get on the media for covering that. Like I said at the top of the show, I won't go through it again. Dolphins fan, you gave that 8 million views. You brought this on yourself. If you, it's true. I mean, don't let it go viral, and nobody's going to cover it. But when you flip out over a pass in May and you give it 8 million views and it goes viral, yeah, the New York Post, Mike Florio, Fox Sports, everyone's going to cover it. Watson threw the same pass that was short and underthrown. Browns fans were like, whatever, they don't care. And nobody covered it because nobody cared. You make something go viral, it's going to get attention.
Well, gosh, Mike, as much as I've disagreed with you in chat all night since I've been watching, man, we are kindred spirit, man. I love that take right there, man.
True.
But you know, I found funny though. If more Dolphin fans were to spend more time trying to get Zach Thomas and Richmond Webb in the Hall of Fame than they did that pass, they'd be in the Hall of Fame.
Absolutely. You're 100. Invest your time in the right way. You're 100% right.
I also like the rants. You know, I'm gonna like the rants, man.
Yeah.
Color's a big ranter himself too.
One of the things I said, which was very controversial, fans did not like, but it's 100% true. The whole Watson saga last year. How many times did we hear, "I'm a father of daughters. I could never root for that man." Deshaun Watson. Oh my God. There's things more important than football. Then we go out there and trade for Tyreek Hill, who is a checkered off the field history himself. I won't get into. Oh, right, we got Tyreek Hill. Wait a minute. You still have daughters. I thought things are more important than football.
Color said that day one.
Now all of a sudden, it's like it's selective outrage. I'll be outraged about certain things, not outraged about others. I can turn a blind eye to certain things, not turn a blind eye to others. If Watson played linebacker, nobody would have cared. But because he's coming to replace your precious little Tua, oh my God, I got to be outraged. That's all it was. It's like that's the stuff where I'm not afraid to go there and talk about that stuff where a lot of people, or I don't want to say a lot of people, some shows won't. And it's like, look, we're all fans of the team. Like I said, look around me. I'm clearly a fan of the team. But we can have an honest discussion about the team and not lie to ourselves about what's really happening in front of us.
Wow, this gentleman is refreshing, man. Now I will have to disagree with you about the logo. I can't get. I mean, you pained me. You came on, but you know what? It does go to show how honest a person you really are. Because to come on the Fins tailgate and say that you don't like that logo and criticize it, that's truth right there. There ain't no way. There ain't no way you're lying to us.
If they still had it, I wouldn't be upset if they still had it. It's just not my favorite. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, but to Chris's point also, and this is something that the marketing department did back then and made sure they mentioned, was that they literally tailored the look on his face, that mean look, as purposely for the, to change the mood of the, going forward of the fan base and all that. Like, we were actually, they thought it wasn't, they wanted to give it expression, but the cartooniness, I think, really adds expression to it. And it also allowed for the deeper blue that they added for the highlight color, which for that time was officially part of our team colors. I'm fine without the blue. I'm fine without the blue.
I miss those navy blues.
Yeah, and I'm fine with it. I like it, as part of the logo, but I'm fine with it not being like an official color. I didn't think it should have ever been official,
Purposely.
But but to go from that to the floating whale we got now, I can't, man. It's hard.
Hey, if we win, I don't care what logo we got, just win.
That's it.
Good point there. Yep. Good point there.
They could wear hot pink and lime green. I wouldn't care if they're winning games. Honestly,
they win games in hot pink and lime green. They'll be that much cooler for doing it.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah, like orange pants and white jerseys.
Dolphins get Vice uniforms. Is that it?
Yeah, it's like introverse Vice uniforms.
Yeah.
Shake, real quick, are you going to the thing for Dolphreaky tomorrow?
It's tomorrow.
Yeah, it's tomorrow. It starts at 9, but it's like almost all day long. It's gonna be on
9 in the morning.
Yeah, from 9 till like all day though. Like they're even doing a bar crawl, on those Causeway Islands on your way to Sanibel. It's on the second one. They're doing Dolphreaky Beach Bash tomorrow. So yeah, I'm gonna be there. Batman and MCJB are in town right now to do it. Meet up. Dolphreaky, as you know, Mike, on there. Yeah, she's throwing that Beach Bash thing. So
you gonna pop in like maybe a half-hour live show during the day or something?
I doubt that they'll have service over there at the beach like that. No. And,
well, I mean, I'm in the middle of the Rocky Mountains right now. We got great Wi-Fi right here.
Yeah, but that's on land. Like I'm on an island, and they don't even like, maybe I don't know. Maybe I could, but I don't know.
You'll be hitting that cell tower in the off the oil platform.
Yeah, exactly. Jordan, what's up, buddy? Do you have any questions for Mike?
Yeah, Mike. I've listened to you for the last 3-4 years. You make some good points. I don't agree with everything, but nonetheless, you make some good points, some good food for thought. Look, here's the problem Miami's facing. Josh Allen is a top 3 quarterback in the NFL. Okay. We're going to be dealing with him for the next 15 years. Is Tua someone that can go toe-to-toe with that for the next 15 years? No. Now, I haven't thrown in the towel completely on him, but we're eventually going to have to probably find someone. I know it's tough. We've been looking for that guy since Marino, but eventually we'll hit on someone. I just don't like the prospects for the next 15 years unless we've got a guy that can.
Jordan, are you saying Skylar Thompson's the guy? Is that what I'm hearing right now?
No, we gotta get a guy. I mean, we were terrorized by Brady for so many years. Yes, we had some good games against him in South Florida, but I mean, it's like we're dealing with another Brady and Josh Allen. The guy weighs more than a lot of our linebackers. He throws the ball strong. I mean, you could make the argument that Josh Allen's better than Patrick Mahomes. You can. So, Mike, what do we do to remedy this problem? Sure. Do you agree with me that we got to find another guy if Tua's not the guy?
Yes. This year, that's why on our show, on our podcast, I've said a lot. This year, jobs are on the line. And what I mean by jobs is the general manager, I really think his job's on the line this year. And I think for Tua, once again, once you black out the outside noise, I know on social media there's so much noise, and you watch it at Fox Sports, NFL Network, just black it out. Like I said, he's been a middle of the road, ordinary quarterback, which is That's what he's been. And if he does it again this year, they're probably going to move on because they have a lot of picks next year, and there's probably going to be options. Whoever the options are, I don't know, and I'm not going to really guess, but there's going to be options because they know that to win in this league, you got to have a big-time quarterback. Now, if Tua this year, with this track team he's got around him of Hill, Watt, Mike Gesicki, Cedric Wilson, the running backs, if they have success, say they win 11, 12 games, say they make the playoffs, even if they lose in round one, just say they make the playoffs, they're not going to move on from him quickly, but it's good. But they're also not going to pay him long-term anytime soon either. For him to get that next contract, he's going to have to win a couple playoff games. I truly believe that. Otherwise, like you said, the Jimmy G comparison is going to be pretty much, we're going to be in that same type of situation to where we win games, we even make the playoffs with this guy, but we don't get over that hump to ultimately win a Super Bowl with him. So he's going to get this year, and then we'll take it year to year. Essentially, that's where we are now. It's a year-to-year situation. Some teams, like the Chargers, like the Bengals, they got their guy. They know they got their guy. Maybe they make the playoffs. Maybe they have an up and down year. But they know long-term, he's the guy. We're not in that situation. Our situation is totally different, and it's pretty much a year-to-year thing. But, yeah, if he's not the guy this year, they will move on from him after this year. And if he does just enough, then they'll probably ride him out in 2023. We'll see what he does next year.
Mike, can I ask you a question? So, what in your opinion, like if we get into this situation where year to year he does just enough, how do you presume that we get ourselves out of that?
Well, essentially, the contract expires.
That coming Tannehill cycle of 7 years. You see what I'm saying?
Well, here's the thing.
I think that's what a lot of the fans are concerned about.
Now Tannehill got a second contract. Tua won't. So this ain't going to go 7 years. Tannehill got the second contract from Tannenbaum, and that's why he was here beyond the first year.
I got you. So you don't think the second contract comes as easy for Tua?
Second contract will not come that easy. Nope, no way, no how. It's not because Mike McDaniel, once again, he's not getting the honeymoon that like most new head coaches get. He's taking over a team that had back-to-back winning seasons. So he's expected to just not regress and take back-to-back winning seasons and make them take the next step.
Plus better paper, plus the addition of better paper, right?
Yes. So he's coming into a situation where he's got to win. I mean, it's not fair to say a rookie head coach is coming in with expectations. You got to win right away. But that's his situation. That's just life in the NFL.
And that's what he signed up for.
That's what he signed up for.
That ain't no lie, too. He's gonna have to get. He definitely, when you say it's a prove it year or 1 year deal, jobs on the line. I think Mike McDaniel's job is on the line as much as anybody else.
And I know fans of Dolphins, once again, this is why, some people, acquire taste. I get that. When I say they wanted Sean Payton and Tom Brady, they couldn't get them, so they went on to plan B, and this is plan B. But if they get a chance after this year, say things, like I said, don't go as well as they want, then our plan A is still out there. Let's rope around to plan A again. And this is a brutal league. We've seen coaches fired after 1 year. Wilkes with Arizona fired after 1 year. Mike Mularkey, I think, was the head coach. Was it Mike Mularkey? I think so, with Jacksonville, fired after 1 year. A lot of coaches, not a lot. Some coaches only get a year. And
it's not even because they're a bad coach. It's because they can't put a staff or they didn't have – the GM is gone.
Hey,
and
what everyone says about Flores – how could you fire this man back-to-back winning seasons? Mike Mularkey with the Tennessee Titans won a playoff game, and they still fired him. He 1 year, I think, or 2 years. Second year,
but let's be fair. That's Mularkey, man. You know what I mean?
Who's Brian Flores? He has no resume. He has the same resume as Mike Mularkey.
My pun fell flat. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
What's the Mularkey?
I see.
I'm the pun guy around here,
Mike. Yeah, but it's like so, if Mike McDaniel only gets a year, say they go 9-8, whatever, it's like, well, Sean Payton's out there. Sean Payton wants to come here. Hey, Sean, come on down. It's not crazy, but we'll see. I mean, look, I honestly think they're going to be good this year. I don't think they're going to win the Super Bowl, but I think they're going to be good. I think they're going to be in the playoffs. And that's what's going to make this interesting next offseason, because what does Tua do? And a big part of this, which we don't talk about, is the injury. If Tua plays great for like 8 games, but he's hurt for like half, well,
That's to me.
that
my
plays
biggest,
into the equation as well.
That's my biggest deal with Tua that I worry about the most is
staying on the field.
Just staying on the field, because if he plays great 10 games but is injured other remaining 7, I can't have anything. I don't need a 2-quarterback system.
Well,
it ain't gonna work. Yeah.
Well, then you move on. And I know some fans aren't going to want to hear that, but because look,
we played that game with Tannehill for far too long around here, and it just never worked out.
Tannehill, up until the knee injury, never missed time. But once he
never missed anything, just took a beating his whole life.
He took a beating, and I often said in our show back then, he's going to take a hit which he doesn't get up from. And
I know, I thought for sure he was going to die out there one of these days.
Exactly, because he took big hits, but he never took a hit to the knee, not to the knee, and the knee does change everything. So, is what it is.
Yeah, and to Tony Pepperoni's point, Josh Allen is going to absorb those hits for 15 years like a stud. You know, that's a good point he makes there.
Yeah,
and he's got that.
How many times has Baker? I think there's been about 3-4 times Baker's had Allen, but he just can't wrap and put him down.
Yeah, he's tough. He's good. Look, I hate the. We all don't like the Bills.
I hate them.
Exactly. Exactly. But you have to give the devil their due. They've built
thy enemy.
Team. They got
for
great
me,
quarterback and outstanding.
The Bills
team.
are heading to a calamity. Their team's getting older. They've got this year, next year, and maybe a year after that. Then they're going to be paying the piper on their quarterback and having to figure out.
If they win one,
that's it. If they just win one, they're golden. I mean, I thought last year was their year. I actually bet against.
It actually was their year.
Last year was their year. I had the Bills.
They kill 13 seconds. They win it all.
I had the Bills, and I want to say it was Bills Rams. Color, was that who I was calling all year? Was it Bills Rams?
I believe so.
Yeah, it was Bills Rams. I couldn't believe they didn't make it.
Because no way Cincinnati beats them in the AFC title game on the road.
No way.
And the Rams did not play well in the Super Bowl. Sean McVay won a Super Bowl ring. God bless them. They won that game in spite of their head coach, not because of their head coach. Buffalo, if they can kill that 13 seconds or so, whatever it was, versus the Chiefs, they probably won the Super Bowl last year because they were just peaking at the right time late in the year, and they had it all. It's gonna now. AFC's tougher this year. More good quarterbacks on the AFC. Even a team like the Colts. Nobody talking about the Colts. They had a loaded team with no quarterback. Matt Ryan, he's a little older, but he's still Matt Ryan. He doesn't have to be Matt Ryan of 9 or 10 years ago. He's just got to be good.
Yeah,
and the Colts
he's still half of a Super Bowl champion, right?
Exactly. So you got teams like the Colts are good. You got the West. Every team in the West is good.
And I tell you what, Mitch Trubisky took a tough division Chicago Bears to the playoffs twice with an injured Allen Robinson.
Yeah. Now, Pittsburgh, he's got some players there. So, AFC is so tough. The Bills are the best team on paper. I think in the East, because I think the Patriots are going to stink, and I think the Jets are going to stink. They're probably going to clinch the East by, like, late November. So, are they going to take their foot off the gas the final 3, 4, 5 games of the year, or are they going to go pedal to the metal and just not try to lose momentum? That's going to be interesting for them. But come to playoffs, AFC is going to have a lot.
I don't think that the Bills take their foot off the gas. They need.
I don't think so either.
They need to have home field advantage throughout the playoffs, and they need to be the number 1 seed and control that. And that's their path to the Super Bowl. Really,
it is. It really is, and they might get it but when you look at you look at Pat Mahomes. I know he doesn't have Hill. He's still Pat Mahomes at the end of the day.
Yeah. A lot of
Lamar
people are
Jackson,
calling for a regression for Patrick Mahomes. I don't think we're going to see it. Colors.
Even if he regresses, he's still great. You know what I mean? Even if he's a small
Capitan, I have actually revised that a little bit. I do expect a regression, but I still like Mike just said, he's still Patrick Mahomes. I still think he has the skill, and I think he's still going to be like A+. It's just not like A quadruple plus. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know Tyreek does a lot, especially with those These little freaking screens, the guy ends up taking 40 yards off of him, and we've seen it up close against us.
And let's be honest, to be able to wing the ball to a certain part of the field when you're under pressure, and to know that receiver will make it there every time. You literally have the entire field to throw to. That's a big thing.
With the Chiefs, Reed is the best regular season head coach I've ever seen. Now in the playoffs, he's terrible. But come regular season, Andy Reid wins games. And they're going to win their share of games in the regular season. Now, in the playoffs, a whole different story with him. He does some questionable things. But Andy Reid will win you regular season games. I think Herbert and the Chargers are going to be good. They should have made the playoffs last year.
That really defense took a big step forward this offseason.
Yeah, they're going to be good. Raiders are going to be an interesting team to watch. They got players, obviously. Add in Adams, new head coach. We'll see how that goes. The Broncos, if Russell Wilson is even half of what he was with Seattle, that team was good last year, like the Colts. Great team, no quarterback. Colts and Broncos are teams that I think in the AFC, great teams, no quarterback. Now they have quarterbacks. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do. Look at the Browns. If Watson's only out a month, not the end of the world. If he's out 8 weeks or so, then, yeah, they're in trouble. But if he's only out 4 games or 6 games, they're going to be a team that you have to sort of deal with because they can stay afloat without him. It's going to be tough with Jacoby Brissett, but they can try and stay afloat, I think, because their schedule to open the year is actually really soft. So that's – and then, you got the Ravens, you got Pittsburgh, Cincinnati ain't going nowhere. The AFC is so stinking good where Miami might win 10 games and still not make the playoffs. That wouldn't shock me either. And it'd be unfortunate because I think –
how many times are we going to do that?
Exactly. You don't want to be the last wild card. You sort of want to be – you want to be more than that. But – the AFC is so good, you could be a great team and still miss the playoffs or be like the last wild card, which is, frustrating.
Hey, let me ask you, everybody here a crazy hypothetical that I was thinking of the other day. Let's say for the Jets stink up again and they fire Robert Saleh. Would you want him as your defensive coordinator, being that he has history with the head coach?
All things considered, yes. And say, yeah, I would say, yeah, if Boyer proves that he can't be creative enough to handle this defense. Honestly, though, for me, if Boyer loses his job, it's because Madison's in the wing coming up to be the next DC. Now, if McDaniels cemented his position as the head coach and that's his guy, then yeah, maybe. But that might cost him having Sam on the team. Who knows?
I'd be okay with it. Yeah, I mean, Saleh, and I think you're right about Saleh because I had a Jets reporter on our show last weekend, and I said,
"Yeah, I saw that episode. That's a great episode."
I'm going to be totally honest. Yeah, I'm going to be totally honest with you. Your roster's improved. I think you're really good. You do not have one easy game until November 27th. Your team might be a lot better, but they might lose a lot this year. And he tried to tell me, well, the game against Pittsburgh's winnable, and then you got the game against which is true. Those are winnable games. Don't get me wrong, but they might have a bad year with the team being improved. But for a head coach, you're graded on wins. So if they don't win, he might be in trouble. But yeah, I'd be fine with him if they do need a coordinator in a year.
I mean, did they expect to win more than 8 games next year, Jets fans, or even more than 7? Wow.
They do, but if you look at that schedule, especially if Watson's not suspended, which I don't know how that's possible, but say he's not, their first 9 games are brutal. Yeah. That's why the Jets over-under is 5.5 or 6.5. I haven't bet this yet, but I'm thinking about taking the under because let me just hold on. I got it right here. I'm going to call up. Tell me where they win. Ravens week 1, week 2 at the Browns. That's all dependent on Watson, I will admit. Week 3, Cincinnati. Week 4 at Pittsburgh. Week 5, Miami. Week 6 at the Packers. At the Broncos. Patriots, Bills, Patriots. That takes you to November 27th.
The only winnable game I heard there is that Steelers game. That's the only potentially winnable game.
Or if there's no Watson.
Or if there's no Watson. That's right. Yeah. Those are the only
but that's it. Games. And those things are not going to be easy wins. Pittsburgh is still Pittsburgh. And that is a brutal stretch. Now, the end of the year, soft. Ended with the Bears, Lions, Jacksonville, Seattle. So last, 6 weeks are easy. But if you're 0-9 or something, it's like, oh my God, that's a brutal stretch.
Yeah, that's not going to be good for the Jets. I don't think Robert Saleh is going to lose his job, though. I mean, who wants the Jets job anymore?
Look, it's a head coaching job. There's only
That's true.
32 of them. Someone will take it. And it is New York City. And their offseason has been good. Nobody can take it away from them. But with it being good, it's also raised expectations. And if they don't meet the nobody expects them to make the playoffs. But if they don't win like 7 or 8 games, people are going to be like, get this guy out of here. You know what I mean? That's just New York. That's just how that mindset is. Jets fans, like Miami, have waited many, many years to have a winner. They don't have patience.
Yeah, I think it's going to take them a lot longer anyhow. I mean, I guess if the Patriots fall off and they find themselves one win more than the Patriots, they'll feel good about that.
Yes, they feel – or they – like I said, they end the year with a soft schedule. So if they end up winning like 5 of the last 6, people have hope. Heading in 2023, that could save them there too. But that first stretch till November 27th is brutal. I already bet Miami in the over. It was 8.5, and I go 8.5 is too low, so I locked that in. And I put down a good chunk of change. And then like a week after I put down that bet, it went up to like 9.5. I'm like, I'm glad I locked. Not that I still
that was, of course, with
9.5.
money that you could afford, right?
Absolutely. Bet responsibly, folks. Yes, always bet responsibly. But yeah, so I just felt at 8.5, that's way too low. And I go, I know this is going to go up between now and week 1. Let me lock this in now. And it went up like a week later, which I still would have bet it. Maybe not as much money. I still would have bet it. But at 8.5, I go, I know we're winning 9. I'd be stunned if we won less than 9.
Jordan, haven't heard from you in a second, buddy.
Yeah, I'm right here. I'm just taking it in.
Oh, good deal. I was wondering if you were still up there.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, I don't see how the Patriots, every year 3 teams in each conference go out of the playoffs. 3 teams usually go in on average. Over the last 20 years, somebody did something. Last 20 years, 17 of those years, there's been 3 teams minimally each time to go out. Dolphins could be one of those teams on the inside. I don't see the Patriots as one of the teams still going to the playoffs next year.
Agreed. You could look at Steelers and Pats right there. There's 2 of them.
Those 2 teams probably don't get in the playoffs. There's 2 more that get in.
I throw in the Raiders too. I throw in the Raiders maybe.
Well,
and
there you go.
Tennessee.
That's a good 3. That's a good
Tennessee.
That's a good set of 4 to start with.
Yeah, those are
coming out of those.
I have a feeling Tennessee will still fall into at least a wild card. I mean, their division is really weak.
It's a soft division.
I wonder about the Colts winning it. I wonder about the Colts putting up a fight. And Jacksonville got stronger. And I like Doug Peterson. I was hoping to get Doug Peterson in Miami.
Yeah, I could see a scenario where the Colts run away with the division and Jacksonville ekes it out for the wild card. I could see that.
I don't know.
Well, not Jacksonville. I think it means the Titans for a wild card, maybe.
No. I honestly think that
I don't think anyone.
I think Jacksonville has righted their ship.
Card.
Well, what I mean is, I think. Well, okay, that's fair. That's a better point.
There's only one division winner, and that's it. They'll get one person in. Everyone.
I guess maybe I'm just anxious to sing the praises of Peterson because I really think Jacksonville is on a faster track back to relevancy than people realize. You know what I mean? I'll put it that way.
I see. Yes, I would agree with that. The South is always weird. It's a weird division, the South. It's always AFC South's an odd division. And the Titans, if Tannehill's not playing well right away, how much of a leash is he going to have before they go to Malik Willis? It's going to be something to watch.
That's something to be.
Tannehill's not the future, clearly.
We are already over here making fun of all of them for doing what we did with Tannehill. So I'm sure the organization sees a lot of that and is like, no, we're done.
You know what, too? It's funny to think that Malik Willis coming up behind Marcus Mariota style. I mean, the whole dynamic is changing a little bit. Jeez, man, it looks kind of promising.
Maybe I'm the only one that'll go this far, but Mariota is trash to me. And I think that Tannehill was a default in that situation.
I think Mariota's put a lot of good weight on as of recent. I think he's a better quarterback now than he was when he was still with that team. Frail, constantly injured, scrawnier. Again, I think it's the injury history too. You can't
Chris,
say
you're making me think of Tua when you bring up
that's
Mariota.
what I worry about, bro. That's what I worry about. I worry about the injuries.
I know. So do I. The lack of strength. You can't. They both have trouble reading defenses.
Lack of strength, keeping your strength because you're injured. That's something to be said about that. Can't get fully healthy if you're injured.
Can Tua throw the ball in cold weather and the wind? I'm worried. I know, Mike. We don't know. I mean,
it's a valid question because what we saw last year in Tennessee wasn't pretty.
No, and that's not even really cold. Imagine going up to like the Ralph in Buffalo in January.
What Tua needs to do?
Better sign J.C. Treader.
What Tua needs to do is go to like a restaurant and say, "Let me throw in your freezer for like 10 minutes."
Every restaurant, he just stops in the freezer and throws it. Every restaurant.
Yeah.
He could go to one of those fish tosses, like they do at the wharf,
Out there in Seattle where they throw the fish. The guy
do the fish tossed. Yeah, he's got to do something. Look, he definitely looks healthier than he's ever looked. And I think the system's going to help out a lot. And I know Jimmy G ain't something to write home about. I think Tua run it better than him, and we ain't got much to worry about. There is something to be said, though, that even if we do get into the playoffs and win a playoff game, when you look at guys like Josh Allen and what the AFC has and stuff like that, do they go, it's not enough? I don't know.
Teddy Bridgewater starting sounds like a Cinderella story. Leading the Dolphins, the hometown boy.
Part of this, too, will come down to you're only as faithful as your options. So come next offseason, if Tua is the best option, even if they want to move on, but there's nobody to move on to, because they're not going to move on to a rookie. They won't.
Yeah.
Because you can't – they have too much veteran talent offense to put a rookie and go through –
unless he's a clear-cut superstar like a
Yeah, that's the best pitcher in your bullpen theory right there. Like if you're
what do you think about Kirk Cousins? Because the coach has a background with him.
I mean, Kirk Cousins.
I'm not a fan of him, but the coach worked with him.
I know what you're saying.
And Kyle Shanahan loves Kirk.
I know. Once again, I think fans of the Dolphins would crap all over it.
Yeah, I would be pissed personally.
I think fans would crap all over it. I think if you have to move on. If you have to move on from Tua, you have to. Something goes wrong this year, gets hurt, or just something happens where you have to move on. And the best option is Kirk Cousins, or that's the only realistic option because you can't get, say, Lamar Jackson signs with the Ravens long term, Murray signs with Arizona long term, and the best veteran option, your only veteran option is Kirk Cousins. You almost just have to do it. Even though it's not a long-term answer.
I was afraid you were going to put it that way because I have to agree with you on that. I don't want to agree with you on that.
Exactly. Look, some of the stuff I say, I don't want to happen. I'm just saying, you can just read the handwriting on the wall and say, well, if this happens, if that happens, we're stuck in this situation. And hopefully it's not the case. But again, they might want to move on from after this year, but if there's no viable option, they might not be able to. And he's not making a lot of – I don't know. It's going to be the most interesting thing of the season. Obviously, we all want to win games. But winning games is part of the story of this year because each season's like a book. There's lots of chapters in the book. The wins is what we want. We saw wins last year, but the offense still didn't play well. So you kind of knew where the book was going to end. It's like, well, it's only going to go so far this season because the offense isn't good enough to make us go past a certain point. And we won a bunch of games in a row. Then we played the Titans, and the season ended. And we played one more game after that meant nothing. But whatever. So we'll see how this year's book kind of plays out. And
Mike,
the Tua storyline of this book.
Sense. This is too much critical thinking for the Dolphins fan base, man. Do you not know what you're talking about here? You either love Tua or like it, or get out of this fan base.
And I gotta hate Mike Florio. I gotta hate Chris Sims. How dare Chris Sims rank him 29th? Folks, okay, if you ranked him 25th, would you still be happy or mad? You'd still be mad. You can rank him 20th, you'd still be mad. It's like people get worked up over nonsense. It's like, who cares?
Well,
Chris Sims ranks Tua. It means nothing.
I get it. I'm listen, as somebody that partakes in the game, I'm willing to throw gasoline on the fire. I'm willing to dance on the fire, whatever I got to do to have a good time and make it fun. Getting how people do, that's just ridiculous, man. You got to have a little bit more playtime with it. People take it all too seriously. I had an episode earlier in the week where we were talking about Teddy. Tua was sick. Big episode, got a lot of numbers. So much hate coming up, all up in my comments, telling people that to not subscribe to my channel. All this stuff, go watch this other channel. You can see it. Everybody can go look. There's plenty of haters, and it's only to push a blind faith. I've been a lifelong Dolphins fan. I have eaten the crap I've been fed on this guru, this answer, blind hope. I'm willing to take it, critically think, and have fun with it. But there's a lot of you're not allowed to have fun with it.
Here's what happens. Social media has exacerbated. Well, is that how you say it? Exacerbated, whatever.
Exacerbate. Yeah, I know. I can't say it either.
So they've taken groupthink to the worst level, and there's nothing more dangerous than groupthink because people just feel like, okay, I have an idea. So and so's got this idea. I'm with them, and we have numbers, so we must be right. And
That's it.
Like, we must be right because more than one of us think the same. It's like there's various opinions. Like I said, the most fun I've ever had on our site and our podcast was 2020. Even though we didn't make the playoffs, we were winning most weeks. It was exciting. And it was like we felt like we turned things around up until the end. But I really thought we were going to get in the playoffs. That final game against the Bills, I didn't know if we'd win, but I didn't think we'd look that bad. But okay, there was hope finally that we were on the right track. And most shows, I was able to come on and talk about more positive stuff than negative stuff, and it was great. But again, I can't lie to people. If you take the emotion out of it and just look at stuff, I'm not going to lie and say things are good when we're 1-5, 1-6, 1-7. What do you expect people to say? It's like we're bad. We haven't won a playoff game since 2001, the 2000 season. It's like I know people just want that constant reinforcement that everything's going to be okay. We're a good team. I don't know why everyone's laughing at us. Why are they picking on the Dolphins? ESPN's not picking on the Dolphins. They could care less about the Dolphins. If ESPN wants numbers, they're going to talk about Tom Brady every show. They're going to talk about teams that win. They're going to talk about the Cowboys, teams that are in the playoffs. They're going to talk about the Rams. They're not picking on the Dolphins. But when the Dolphins are in the news because the head coach is suing the owner and suing the team, they're going to talk about the Dolphins and probably not in a positive light. That's not ESPN going out of their way to pick on the Dolphins. It's a crazy situation that's happening in Miami. You got Tom Brady linked to the Dolphins. They're going to talk about the Dolphins. Tom Brady's the greatest quarterback who's ever played, Hall of Famer, all these rings. They're going to talk about the Dolphins. So fans just get their feelings hurt.
Yeah.
Why are they picking on they're not picking on your team. Your team's in the news.
I feel like it, before when the Dolphins would lose on a Sunday, it would ruin my whole week. And then like if I would have started this channel and this network with all my guys 6 years ago, I would be a different person than I am on camera. A, I'm younger. B, I think I've evolved a little bit more as a sports fan. I'm not so wrapped up. Do I want to win fanatically?
Absolutely.
Yes. The things I have around me and the stuff in this desk could prove to anyone that I've had for my whole life too, some stuff, how much of a fanatical Dolphins fan I am. But I also don't allow it to rule my personality, my soul. I don't allow something I love to be unenjoyable that way. Do I get upset? Yes. Do I get, mad? Yes. But I'm not going to be hateful to other people. That's the thing.
Yeah, and to take it one step further, you can't let it upset your life like that. Like I already said, the Dolphins are playing on Christmas this year. I've already told fans, don't let that game ruin your Christmas. Christmas is about your family, your kids.
Wow, Mike, I didn't even think about that, Mike. I didn't even think
your Christmas because they're playing the Packers. Packers are a solid team. Don't let that day ruin your Christmas.
Oh my God, I didn't even
Christmas.
think about that.
Yeah, because Tyree, I spoke to Tom on our side. I go, Tom, we cannot do a post-game wrap-up show Christmas night. I go, that might have to wait a day or two. It's Christmas. I mean, it's a tough day. Don't let that ruin your Christmas. But it's like, fans, it's not even letting the teams win or losses ruin your day because I'm like you. I don't let it ruin my day. I mean, I'm mid-40s. That stuff's long behind me. But if it does keep you in a funk for a day, that's fine. Where I see where it becomes toxic is when you start lashing out at strangers you don't know on social media who are saying, Colin Cowherd put out a video last week talking about the Dolphins and Tua saying, I think he's going to be better, blah, blah, blah. He goes, Dolphins fans are zany. Mm-hmm. He's not wrong. I hate to admit it. Dolphins fans are little zany. Like I said, you give 8 million views to a practice throw in May. People who aren't fans of this team from the outside look at that and go, that's a crazy bunch of people. That's not normal. That's not happening in Pittsburgh. Not happening in Seattle.
We have been driven to this madness. It's a little bit of a madhouse.
It's a madhouse! A madhouse!
And that's kind of everything's fault. Our fault, my fault. I'm here wearing a purple jacket. I foment the flames every now and again. I play the game. I think, and this is something I said on another show, if Colin Cowherd, who has no vetted interest in your team at all,
he doesn't care,
can get you to watch his stuff to hate him, he has won. He has won. If he's teaching you anything, he's teaching you to relax a little, bro. Relax.
And if you're going to comment on that and call him a name, then he's really won. Because now he's got you vested emotionally. It's professional wrestling at the highest level. The bad guy pro wrestler, his job is to get you to show up and boo. If you stay home and be quiet, he ain't getting paid. If he gets you to spend $20, drive to the arena, and boo him and root for him to lose, he's won. That's what fans don't let Colin Cowherd, Chris Sims, because he sees they all see it now. This Dolphins fan base is trigger happy emotional, and they know,
and they're poking.
Exactly.
And they're poking, and it works. It
works. I can poke them. I can talk about the Dolphins for 3 minutes. In the last 20 seconds, throwing a zinger that's going to poke them, and they're going to flip out. And why wouldn't I do that? And it's not for clicks. It's just because they've said that fan base, that segment of the fan base, has lashed out at them so aggressively and called them horrible names and things. And so, of course, they're going to poke you because they're having fun with you at that point. They've got you on a yo-yo, and they control every move you make and your emotions. So Dolphins fans, you bring it on yourself, some of this stuff. Just ignore it. If you think they're truly idiots, don't respond. Don't put up a comment. Don't call them a name, and they will stop.
I'm into it. I like it. I think it's fun.
That's fine.
I think it's fun to play both sides. Sometimes I'm fighting for the Dolphins. Sometimes I'm fighting against my Dolphins brethren.
You don't say.
But you're coming in this with a clear head, knowing that most people are just flying off the handle.
Yeah, that's all right. No, that's all right. I have a censorship, and I got a crowd control tool. So.
Oh yes, this is just these are rubber bullets, right? For crowd control. They're hard rubber bullets, but listen, these boys ain't made out of crows.
So there is some things. What are you gonna say, Jake?
No, I find funny two things. Number one, I was a part of this Dolphins Facebook fan page, and like you said, all they did was talk trash about Colin Cowherd. I remember one time Colin Cowherd made the Dolphins his top 5. Everybody posted, "Oh look, Colin Cowherd has us in the top 5." I thought he was an idiot. Why do you care if he's in your top 5?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And two, on your thing on that, ESPN isn't picking on Dolphins. I'm in my mid-40s too, and I remember when Dolphins had Dan Marino, Dolphins were always Super Bowl favorites and always talked about in a good light when we had Marine and Don Shula. So
It
it's
goes
not
back to it goes back to when you play well and you do good things, you get talked about positively. When you don't, you get talked about negatively. None of these reporters have an agenda like that. They just don't. I know fans like to think they do. Those reporters aren't making stuff up. They're not going to risk their job and how they feed their family to make up a news story. It's like that just doesn't exist.
Touching back to what you said about groupthink, they've made the group smaller, and they think that because there's a group, they feel bigger, when really all you've done is just made a small clique, like you're in high school, and you feel like we're running the world with us 5 people. It's ridiculous. The Dolphins fans, there's millions of Dolphins fans.
Well, I always remind our staff and our site that the Twitter audience is so small. Do you know the percentage of Americans that are on Twitter? It's like less than 20%.
Yeah, there's
like
in the Dolphins fan base
actively, less than that.
It's like 50,000.
It's going down. Less people are going on social media, I read.
Yeah, who wants to put up with it? It's so toxic, just in general, not even about, sports and football. Just in general, it's just a toxic area.
It solves to every issue, to some political agenda,
everyone,
some push.
It's politics. Everyone's an expert in everything. One day, someone, talking about a real stuff, knows everything there is to know about guns. And last week, they knew everything there was to know about the vaccine and COVID. It's like I think people are getting smart that people on there can be morons just spouting off nonsense. And it's like, why am I listening to these people? If they were in a supermarket ranting and raving, I wouldn't listen to them. Why am I going on here listening to them?
It's like standing there listening to someone carrying the soapbox, ready to give you a speech.
It's like the crazy guy in the corner talking to himself. You just walk by and go, "That guy's nuts." That's what social media is. Most of the people are the crazy guy in the corner talking to themselves, but because it's social media, everyone's hiding behind a name.
Not to get too far off on a psychological thing, but here I am alone in a room talking to a bunch of people that a couple hundred years ago I would have been crazy to think so. There's some evolutionary catch up that needs to happen. So maybe this is part of the growth for evolution for people. But in the meantime, people,
it's almost, well, can I say something real quick? It's almost like a big culling. Like everybody's going to leave. All the toxic people will end up getting bored with it and leave. All the good people work. Well, I'm saying over a long period of time, all the good people will come back, and it will be clearer and easier to administer those toxic people like we used to when we first started up, online multiplayer game servers and stuff like that. People could not get away with the stuff they're doing now back then. You'd kick them right off the server.
I have a theory on this, Color, and it goes with almost anything. Something that's new and revolutionary, that's going to be like a big thing. In the beginning, it's always used for like evil. It's always like something to gain an edge. Like the internet was all about like dark web stuff. Look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin was invented for black market purchases. And then it grows into something being better. It's the same thing with all new things. It starts out evil, then it turns, and then the counterbalance comes with it being used for good.
The greatest example being nuclear power, if you think about it.
Yeah. It was made for destruction. Now they use it to, light stuff up. Let's do some final thoughts here in just a second, guys. But before we do, make sure everybody is hitting the like button, subscribing to the show. Make sure everybody's going and checking out Dolphins Talk on YouTube or podcast and everything. But make sure you guys are also... Oops, wrong one. That was the breaking news one, guys. Talk 7 TMI Tuesdays live at 9 with color commentary. Then you guys can catch Color again on Thursdays, late night color commentary on there. Saturday nights is late night Exhale with Ali. Every other night is TFTG, El Capitan. Cash App, Venmo. Link is in the description for Fanatics and our gear. Help support the show, guys. Get some stuff. We should have the super chat up and running sometime next week. I had to change over some stuff. But let's go ahead and do some final thoughts. Let's start with you, Jordan.
Final thoughts. I just hope we add another competent offensive lineman it wouldn't be such a bad thing if Darrell Williams was added. Armstead's not going to play every game. I don't feel comfortable with Austin Jackson and Eichenberg starting at the tackle position, both of them. Okay, like Austin Jackson at left tackle, Eichenberg at right tackle for 3-4 games. So if Treader, he wants a certain amount of money and, he's a union turd, I'll just call it the way I see it. And maybe we got to look at Darrell Williams. Okay. And I hope it really works out with Tua, but there's way more questions than answers with him.
Yeah, I feel like there is a contingency plan. There is backup. This is why I think Chris Greer doesn't get fired, because he's kind of left himself, a back door open or a window open to crawl out of. He's pretty good at that too. He knows how to get someone else blamed for everything, or at least have an out. So, all right, Jordan, we'll see you later.
Take care,
buddy.
guys.
Later, bud.
Later.
Shake.
Chris, I just gotta say thank you for number one. Because of you, I got to talk face to face with my man Paul on the Fin side, and now I get to talk to this man right here, Mike. Thank you so much. Mike, I just want you to know, I apologize if I trolled you in the past. Actually, I have trolled you in the past. Ain't no if. And I'm gonna troll you, and I'm apologizing for when I troll you in the future, because I will troll you in the future.
That's fine.
Nice.
Just
know,
it's all good.
Just know it's all love and nothing personal. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And one last thing. Do you ever get that mailbag jingle stuck in your head? Because I've gotten it a couple of times.
Like that, huh? That is a catchy one. That's a catchy one.
It does. The thing about it is it gets stuck in your head for hours at a time.
It does. That's a good one. Yeah.
All right, man. Thanks again. And once again, Mike, it was good meeting you, brother.
Shake.
Nice to meet you,
I'll be at the beach tomorrow, man. Shoot me a jangle. Color. Go ahead, buddy.
Yo. Oh, first of all, Mike, appreciate you coming by tonight, man. I'm out here in Colorado on vacation, but I was so happy when I knew that I was going to get to our hotel in time to be able to catch our show tonight. Appreciate you coming up. I love what you guys do over there. It's refreshing to know that I can disagree with somebody and not have them, come at me with vitriol and everything else. Your takes. I agree with you a lot, and I respect your opinion on everything. But whenever I do find myself in disagreement, I don't feel like I'm like somebody, that person I'm watching is hating me. So, appreciate that, man. You guys run a great ship over there. Everybody go over there and like and subscribe to these guys. Great content, and really appreciate you coming by tonight.
I appreciate the kind words. And as I always say, like, it's just football at the end of the day. We don't have to agree on football. Two reasonable, intelligent people can see things not the same way. It's okay. And if people say, I don't agree with you, here's why, and they come at me in a normal way, that's fine. That's cool. It's when the people start, cursing, blah, 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 you're an idiot, blah, blah. That's when it's like, I don't need to put I'm 40. I'm going to be 45 in like a month and a half. I just block your ass. I don't need that in my life. I just don't need it. It's like, who does?
Oh, you're a kid, man. You're like 4 or 5 months behind me. You're a kid, man. Welcome to 45.
I know. Well, thank you so much for the nice words. I do
see you, Color. Have fun in Colorado, buddy. Mike, why don't you let everybody know DolphinsTalk.com, all places, all that good stuff.
DolphinsTalk.com is sort of your one-stop shop for all things Miami Dolphins. We have original commentary. We have news items, obviously, when news breaks. We have the rumors, when there's rumors out there. Podcast. I don't say most of the podcasts. Some of the podcasts we put up on YouTube, and we do them live, kind of like this. So you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. Check that out. Also, come August, once training camp starts, if you don't get enough of me at our website, you go to MiamiDolphins.com, read the Blitz. I write it each and every day for MiamiDolphins.com. You can check that out over there. So I'm everywhere when it comes to. Well, Fin Heaven's just more of a partnership we have with them. I don't really post too much on there. I do put up our content, but I don't really interact a lot with the fans over there because there's just not enough hours in the day for everything. But really, just follow me on Twitter at Dolphins Talk. Check out our website, and also when the season starts, check out MiamiDolphins.com and The Blitz.
Yeah, guys, that's good. Thanks so much, Mike, for coming by. Really appreciate it, man. Guys, make sure to check out Dolphins Talk everywhere. If you guys aren't following, it's your loss. You know, what can I say, Mike? We've done everything we can. All right, guys, make sure to hit the like button on your way out, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.